So hey everyone, thank you so much for joining on this wonderful Sunday. So I'm Athar. Let me give you some context about me first. So yes, before that I'll just run you through the agenda of today. So I'll start with a small introduction, which even Shravan will pitch in, where we'll talk a little bit about the program and just set context for everyone. After that, we'll basically move to our alumni spotlight, where we've basically selected people from all walks of life to kind of share their experiences, and you guys can kind of ask them questions as well in context. The next thing that we'll do is talk about the program a little bit, like what can you guys expect, because a lot of people have this question ki once I get in, what is exactly going to happen. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well, and then in the end we'll open the house for a Q&A. Cool. So this is how it will be. So a little bit about me. So I'm Athar. I currently work as a product lead at Rethink, and I have 2 years of experience in product, and I've been working in the primarily the tech domain. I've been an avid startup enthusiast since my school days, so I've actually interned in a lot of places. Primarily, they were marketing internships, but I did that in college. And yes, I also happen to have represented India at a online game. I don't know how much respect that has in today's market, but yes, I did that as well. And yes, looking forward to kind of meeting all of you in online and in person as well. That's a little bit about me. Now let's talk about our instructor, Shravan. So for those of you who probably don't know Shravan, he's a product management influencer and educator. He has got over 150K followers on LinkedIn and 40K followers on YouTube. He's been called to prestigious institutes as a guest like IIMs, IITs, NTU, ISB, and multiple other this thing. So he recently came back from IIT KGP after attending their Global Entrepreneurship Summit. So he's mentored 500 plus product managers who work at like really good companies now. He also has, he's also an angel investor, and he's invested in 15 plus startups all across the world. I think that's a very small introduction. I hope I did justice to it, but I think let's hear from Shravan now. So Shravan, over to you.
Cool, yeah. I think you always do justice to my introduction. There isn't much need of introducing what I've done in my life, but I think the most meaningful thing, they go. One of the things that I want all of you guys to realize is whoever is joining in today, right? The goal of this session, right, fundamentally, is that at least you take away something meaningful about how you think about building products in life, right? प्रोग्राम एंड एवरीथिंग ये इसीलिए शुरू हुआ है जब आपके लिए ये मीनिंगफुल हो, राइट? एंड दिस वाज द गोल. एंड whether you are thinking of joining the program, whether you're not thinking join a program, हमें कोशिश ये करनी चाहिए कि जो आने वाला 1.5 घंटा है और the 75 minutes that we are going to spend together takes away something interesting in your life. At least you learn the art of doing discovery and understanding why learning is important or why this role is even important in the first place. Why does it even make sense? मेरे बारे में यही है. My claim to fame is very simple. I love my students to death, right? That has been the overall part, and I was very fortunate and I have been very fortunate to teach so many students across my life. So I just want all of you to keep this entire 75 minutes from a point of view of thinking how you think about your careers and what meaningful you actually take away in your life, so that you think better, right, about your careers, not just from a role point of view but also from a long term point of view कि मुझे कैसा operator बनना है खुद के लिए, right? How do I think of myself in a long term sentiment or a long term professional in my life? How do I change myself? How do I reinvent myself and do newer and newer things and become that operator जिसके पास लोग जाए, जिसको लोगों के पास जिसको जाना ना पड़े, right? I think that is a very small brief thing that I want to cover over this program. So have fun, ask whatever questions. I think जितना interactive होगा ये पूरा समा उतना ही आपके लिए meaningful होगा, right? तो आप भी अपने 75 मिनट की वैल्यू करो, हम भी 75 मिनट की वैल्यू करेंगे, और what something meaningful will come out of it, whether from a direction, whether from a community, whether from a network, whether from a growth point of view. And I think that will be the best experience that we would essentially want to try. ठीक है यार, super cool. Athar, yes, over to you. Yes.
So I was just saying, so can you talk a little bit about what
Sure.
kind of people we are looking for in this program and kind of,
Sure.
who are the people that we are targeting?
Sure. So I think आप सबको कॉल का एजेंडा तो मोटा पता ही है. तो we essentially what we did around 2 years back, right, was, and this was a very interesting 2 years नहीं, exactly 14-15 months back आप precisely बोल सकते हो, right? The thought process was very simple, right? I have been, मतलब I had the fortune of teaching so many people, and I fundamentally understood कि एक अच्छा builder कौन होता है, एक product manager एक builder होता है, right? And one of the things that I realized over this period of journey, myself as a product manager or teaching so many professionals, we are deeply rooted in understanding very tactical things in life, right? कि आप ये करोगे तो इससे आपका नेक्स्ट गोल आएगा, ये करोगे तो इससे आप कोई नया स्किल सेट प्रोडक्ट मैनेजमेंट का सीख जाओगे. बट आई थिंक वेयर ग्रेट ऑपरेटर्स रियली प्ले is the place where they start thinking from first principles, right? How do I look at a new problem in life, whether it's a career decision, whether it's a cultural decision, whether it's a thought process decision that you essentially want to take. And I think वहां पे कोई फोकस नहीं कर रहा था, और ये गोल बहुत पहले से क्लियर था मन में कि यार कि कैन यू बिल्ड समथिंग विच इज आउटलास्टिंग, विच इज नॉट जस्ट अ 7 week or a 8 week or a 9 week experience, which is something which brings a shift in the way that you look at things. और उसमें सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट होता है आपके एथिक्स क्या होते हैं, आपके सोचने का तरीका क्या होता है. एंड दैट इज द रीजन मैंने स्पेसिफिकली ये प्रोग्राम और द टीम टुगेदर डिजाइन दिस प्रोग्राम, दैट कैन देयर बी अ प्रोग्राम which really changes a brings a thought process of newer thinking, novel thinking in you guys, and can that happen in a brief period of time. क्योंकि अगर वो अचीव कर लिया ना, फिर अगले अगले रोल की कोई बात नहीं है. फिर आप यू कैन प्लान योर करियर फॉर 5 years, 6 years, 8 years. और एक और चीज मैंने बार बार बोली ये बात कि इट इज highly unlikely to make somebody incompetent competent, but it is always possible to make somebody who is competent excellent. और लोग मुझसे ये सवाल पूछते हैं कि भैया कॉम्पिटेंस कहाँ रिजाइड करती है, क्या कॉम्पिटेंस टैलेंट में रिजाइड करती है, पेडिग्री में रिसाइड करती है, बैकग्राउंड में रिजाइड करती है? नो, इट डजंट. Competence truly resides in intent, right? That what are you willing to sacrifice to essentially achieve the next thing that you want to achieve for, right? So I think this is why this program looks like a very interesting product management program, but I think it is a product thinking program, right? How do you think about newer problems? So coming back, so 2 3 questions I want to first clarify very simply. First, can anybody become a builder or a product manager or an operator? 100%. Anybody, right? As long as you have the right mindset, as long as you're willing to be consistent, as long as you're willing to be resilient and not be afraid of failures. I think that's a very important thing. Second, right? Is this role relevant? See, this role has been called by multiple names over years and years, right? What it essentially means is earlier it was called brand manager, somebody who takes care of the whole consumer experience. Now it's product manager. Maybe after 5 years, it will become a generalist manager or something like that. But the principal thought is very simple. Somebody who takes care of the entire user journey, right? क्या आप वैसे सोच सकते हो? Do you have that systems mindset? That is the second thing. And the third thing is, do you really think that newer technologies change the bent of building newer products? They do. But what also is important, that a product is not just built from a technology layer. It's also built at a people layer, right? It is about what your team brings to the table, right? So a बहुत strong ethical bent has to be there so that you become a very powerful operator and can manage teams. Like I will still repeat this. The output of a product manager is not the PRD that he writes. The output of a product manager is what the team brings on the table. You might have the best PRD, right? But if your team does not bring that product and change something for the consumer, it has no meaning. So again, this program is for anybody who is a founder, who generally has a curiosity bent, who wants to build that next product, who is typically a product leader, who wants to see how do you manage large teams, how do you essentially be in a group of divergent views, early stage PMs who want to do that. Second, it is typically from someone who knows that upskilling is not just a behavior or it's a course, it's a transformation. And the first change becomes in themselves. So even if you're a professional from a tech background, non-tech background, arts, economics, as long as you have that analytical bent, you're curious, you're willing to dedicate time, this is a program for you. Third, it is also for people or entrepreneurs. And believe me, the most that I've learned is college students, right? Whenever I go to KGB and I see, like yesterday I was in IIT Kharagpur and I was talking to some students and they were asking so brilliant questions, right? And it is also for those people who are willing to essentially say that I follow the contrarian path, right? I want to build something meaningful and I'm focused on long-term value. और long-term value कहाँ होती है? It's a series of career decisions that you take care of, right? So effectively, this is a program effectively for everybody, as long as 2 3 conditions are met. One, that you're willing to dedicate honest, earnest time to improve your thinking processes. Second, you want to become better as a human, as a person, as a leader, right? That is second thing. And the third thing is who wants to develop long-term thinking. All three of them don't come through shortcut and tricks. They come through a consistent, dedicated, overall effort. So yeah, this is a program for all generalists who want to do something meaningful in life. Absolutely. Adhar, over to you. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Shravan, for that. Now, I don't think I like we'll just give the spotlight to people who actually deserve them, our alumni. So we would love to hear from them as well. So I'll just give you guys a little bit of context on the people who are going to be coming so that you can kind of see what their journeys are. So we'll first have Isha speak. who is currently a senior program manager at Amazon. Then we'll have Arjun, who is an associate product manager at Freight Tiger. Then we'll have Deepak, who has been a product manager at Bajaj Finserv. After that, we'll have the people who've just completed their MBAs, right? So Sonakshi recently finished her MBA from University of Wisconsin. Jeff, who is currently doing his MBA from University of Washington, and Harsh, who works as a customer success manager at Incref. After that, we'll have the last two people who will speak. The first one will be Korak. So Korak is a product manager at Zelpmog Design and Tech, and Unnati, who works at Rethink Systems. But there's a very interesting story behind that. All right, guys. So the first person to speak is Isha, who is currently a senior PM at Amazon. So Isha, over to you.
Hey guys, good evening. Isha here. So I'm working as a senior program manager at Amazon. Uh, Total experience is almost 17 to 18 years. And I wanted to share that, what made me join this program and how it helped. So while uh, working as a program manager, there is a very close connect with the product and the tech team. So while you work with them, you have to understand before giving any request, what are the features, what should we think about, while giving the requirements, etc. So that made me think that I should look for a program product role. And eventually it will be helpful for me if I can also move to a product role. So while doing all of these things, I started researching about the product, uh, how I can pursue the product role. Can I be transitioned to that? And that's where I got to know about Shravan. I followed him through LinkedIn for some time, saw his YouTube videos quite extensively, but I realized something was missing while I was following him. I saw multiple videos for him, and I planned to enroll for his course. I was a part of cohort 4 that happened in October last year. Now, how it helped me and what were the key takeaways for me was, uh, while there is a lot of conceptual learning, that uh, what are the wireframes, a lot of things that Shravan will cover in the lecture, that what is the design thinking, how should you do discovery, how you should ensure that whatever you are discovering, the solution ties up to it. There is a lot of practical aspect to also to it. So it's not just theory that you will learn in the course, or which we learned in the course. There were subgroups created within the cohort, and in those subgroups we also created PRDs, and we also got feedback on those PRDs. So it was more of learn, implement, and get feedback as well. So that was the best thing that I felt I could get from this overall program. And if you really want to, okay, PRD is a product requirement document. What are the requirements? What are the things you want as a feature or in the product that you want? So if you guys feel, you want to transition eventually to product, this would be the right platform for you. But don't come with the expectation that as soon as you do the course, you will get a job. That comes with time and with experience. And happy to connect with you guys over LinkedIn if you have any follow-up questions for me.
Awesome, Isha. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. We'll move to the next person now. So the next person is Arjun. Is a APM at Freight Tiger, and he was also part of our second program, and he was a mentor in the third program. And he has a very interesting story to share on how he became an APM at Freight Tiger. So Arjun, over to you.
Hey everyone. First of all, thanks Atul for that introduction. And amazing to see such a big crowd here. So yeah, my name is Arjun Hariharan and I'm an APM at Free Tiger. And my journey started last year with Rethink System as a student in batch 2 and a mentor for batch 3. And to join, while I was joining in, frankly, I had two things in my mind. One was a short term, like I wanted to switch my industry. That was a short-term tangible outcome which I was looking for. And the second thing, which I wasn't maybe looking at in a matured way, but I got it, was a holistic approach, being part of a great community and learning from the best from the industry. And through this experience, in my last year, I've gotten great insights about industry contexts, as well as learned structured thinking, as well as building my confidence and also looking at things in a more systemic fashion. And overall, this has enriched my personal as well as professional life to large extents. And one major thing which I feel is that we have gotten access to learn from directly from great industry professionals and leaders. And one interesting fact is that I currently work with one of the guest speakers who had come in as for batch two in Rethink System. So yeah, it has been a transformational journey for me, and happy to connect with everyone to bounce off any ideas or answer any questions as such.
Awesome, man. Awesome. This is like a real success story, man. Well, like somebody who came for a so the story is very interesting, guys. The thing was I call guests, so I have friends from different industries, and one of the person came and he essentially liked his PRD so much, right, that he essentially wanted to talk. And believe me, it didn't even happen when I gave that referral. It was he who reached out to him, and eventually rest is history. He has been doing very well. He's a sharp kid. Very cool. Very cool, yeah, Arjun. Awesome. Awesome. Amazing.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Arjun. So let's move to the third person, who is Deepak Anchalia. So Deepak used to serve as a product manager at Bajaj Finserv, and he was also a student at Program 4, where he did a very interesting thing for an assignment, where he was told to come up with a PRD, but instead of the PRD, he actually made an entire YouTube channel and started creating content on it. So, I mean, enough about me. Like, let's hear from Deepak himself. So, Deepak, over to you.
Hey folks, this is Deepak, and as Atarv said, I was a part of cohort 4. So, a little history about me. About 7 months ago, I was a product manager and I was stuck in a sales first culture where revenue targets were always a top priority. And so, basically, user experience were non existent for that, right? So, and I was constantly asking this question to myself that what am I even, doing at this place? I didn't felt right at that point. And I felt always that this is not the right place for me. So I quit my job. I took a break for 15 days straight and I went to Kotao, did some snorkeling, had a great time. And once I was back, as every PM does, I started discovery. And I realized that AI is something that's gonna reshape the future of workplace, whether you are in a corporate or you have your own business. So I thought I should, upskill myself. So I remember I was considering multiple programs, and one of them was ISB, another was IIM Lucknow, and I was a part of this PM group. I I just randomly dropped a poll, and I asked which one to choose from. Some random guy told me that you should go for Rethink System by Shravan. And that moment I didn't know who Shravan was, right? So I started watching his videos, right? And so honestly at that point, uh, I was not clear that this is the right place for me or not at that point. But I know for a reason that this guy knows his stuff. So at least I'll learn something from him. So I applied for batch 4. Uh, and I was there only, like sitting like you and listening to the previous cohort folks, still judging what's in it for me. And my application got selected. I gave it a try, and so within 3 weeks down the line, I was totally sure that this is good good place to be right now. So what I realized is that the thing is totally different, and the reason is, so also I had an MBA before, so that's why I'm saying this, that I realized that it's not about frameworks. It's more about taking action. I've even built a fully AI automated YouTube channel, and I'm not a technical guy, right? Then again, the mentors are incredible here, all of them. Mine was Athar, so special shout out to him for always being there, right? The community is great, which I felt. You'll find a lot of people like-minded like yours, right? And you can even, think of having a startup with them, which I'm planning with other folks of this cohort 4, right? And I think finally, Shravan Bhai, you'll learn a lot from him, more than you are expecting right now. I also would suggest to be always curious when you are with him and ask good questions, no matter how, even silly questions, I would say. He'll give you great insights on that. So, yeah, so let me just, end it by saying that earlier I used to think growth was just about effort. Now I think it's more about effort plus environment, right? And, rethink system became that space for me. So, yeah, let's conclude here and not to bore you more with my gyan. Happy to connect you. If you have any issues or any problems, any doubts, you can connect with me on LinkedIn, or if you're a part of that group, you can just randomly ping me hi. So we'll connect there as well.
मेक सेंस यार. मैं आप सबको ये भी रिकमेंड करूंगा, आप अपनी लिंक्डइन प्रोफाइल्स भी ना इसमें डाल लो, इफ एनीबडी वांट्स टू स्पीक टू यू लेटर ऑन. happy to do that. I think just जो बंदा बात कर रहा होगा, I think there is nothing better to learn from students. Discovery is a very important tenet. आप सब अगर serious हो अपने career के लिए, पैसे से कहीं ज्यादा important time की investment है. What do you want to really change for yourself? So I think do your discovery, and that is a very important thing. ठीक है.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks, Deepak, so much. So now let's move to the people who've just finished their MBAs. The first person that I'd like to call is Sonakshi. And coincidentally, she was part of Program 4 and she won the best operator of her group. So this is an award that we give to students, the best performing student of each group. So Sonakshi won that from her group. Sonakshi, over to you.
Hi, thank you, Athar. Hi, everyone. I was just reading the intros, and it's so good to see that everyone is from such diverse backgrounds here. So, hi, I'm Sonakshi. I have 4 years of experience in testing in insurance domain with companies like Infosys and Hatch. Hatch is an engineering consulting company. Post my experience with Hatch, I moved to US for my MBA from University of Wisconsin-Madison. And post my MBA, I decided to come back to India in September 2024. So that was when I was skeptical of should I join a job or should I take a career break, which I was more inclined to. And that's when a post popped on LinkedIn saying that Cohort 4 applications are open. So I knew Rethink through Shravan because I followed Shravan on LinkedIn. And I attended program review call of Cohort 3 when I was in US at that time, and I got to know more about the program, but I did not apply to it because I was not ready to attend at night because of the time zone issues. So that's when I researched more about the cohort. And when I came back to India and I saw that Cohort 4 applications are open, I applied. But I still had doubts. When I got selected, I had a brief chat, one and a half hour chat with Shravan that is this program
That's
right?
not a brief chat, Sonakshi. 1.5.
Yeah, very elaborated
Makes
chat.
sense. Makes sense. Yes, please.
Just to understand, is this program for my kind of persona people, right? And he told me what is this program for me, how it can help me. And he was very transparent with what this program will not give me. So it was entirely my call if I want to join or not. And I joined the program. And very honestly, there are two major things that I love about the program. First is how this course is structured. By structure, I mean that every week you get a problem statement. But the interesting part is those problem statements don't have a solution yet. So you do your research, you find the solution, and the brainstorming session, giving the presentation every Sunday is so, so fun. Then the second is the community. Everyone is so helpful. Obviously, there are people who were not working, had a family, so had different issues and different bandwidth that they could spend on. And people would happily volunteer, like, it's okay, if you cannot do it, I will do it. And even post program, I'm connected to so many people of the community who are looking for switching job or who are actively searching for jobs. And we collaborate and we work together. So I think that is the best part of this program. And I have seen a lot of changes in myself, professionally and personally both. I don't have any prior PM experience, as in a company, but I'm more confident now that if I get a PM job, I'll be able to work well. I'll be able to clear an interview well. I wanted to enter into content creation on LinkedIn, and now I have that structured thinking of writing, of solving any case that I get. So yeah, these are improvements that I see in myself. And also one last thing, I remember Shravan telling me this when we had that brief chat that we just talked about, that since you're not working, you should take more from this program because you can do it. That is your advantage. And I did that. If anyone in my group was saying that they could not work because of personal professional reasons, I would just pitch in and say, I'll do your work. And that actually really, really helped me. So if any one of you are joining the program and you think that you are of a similar stage as I am, then please do that. That's my suggestion. And yeah, that was my experience. If any one of you think that I can answer your question and give you honest opinions about the program, then please feel free to message me. I'll just drop my LinkedIn.
Super cool, yeah. Do you know what I like the most about you, Sonakshi? I think the confidence that you built in yourself. This is something that people generally don't take away from what courses or anything like that. I think the most meaningful thing that you took away was the attitude to not give up in life. And I think that is where, because हर एक इंसान अलग अलग जगहों से आता है, but it's the persistence, it's the quality to keep going strong that is with very few people, right? And that is what you typically take away. But super proud, super proud. Yes, let's move ahead. Yeah.
Yes. Now let's move to another person who was part of the same group. Oh, sorry, another person who is. So this time, the person that is joining us is from the US, right? A person who very recently cracked a very interesting role. So his obviously, I'm talking about Jeff. So Jeff, over to you. I know it's very early right now, but over to you.
Hey everyone. So just a brief introduction. I'm Jeff. I have 7+ years of experience in Indian education technology startup space. Well, before that, I did my BTech from NIT Rourkela, and currently I'm doing my MBA from University of Washington's Foster School of Business. Past 7 years, I was in the education industry and I started MBA, but I wanted to pivot to a proper product role, and I've been following Shravan from past 1.5 years or so. And how I came across this program was when people from his past programs, Program 1 and Program 2, started posting about it, and I happened to read a couple of PRDs created by them. So I delved more deep into this program, and I figured out the structure, found it very intriguing and much different from most of the courses which was available. And for me, someone without proper product management experience earlier and coming into USA, the market was pretty tough. So I wanted to make sure that I am prepared completely for it. And I had a talk with Adar, and he was very transparent about the challenges I might face in between, because I was in the US time zone and I attended the class until morning 3:30 a.m., 4 a.m. That was the timing. I started at around 11 o'clock at night for the in US time. Watched throughout, and I'll say, yeah, I am someone who believes victory never happens in your comfort zone. So it was not at all a comfortable experience, but it was 1,000% rewarding experience for me. And within the class, what I loved the most was the content was very highly structured. Much more than that, the energy which Shravan's bring in is extremely amazing. And in product management, we talk about the perceived value and true value, right? And I'm sure that this is one among the very few products which I have used in my life, which I feel the true value is much more than the perceived value here. Because anyway, one day I was simply texting Shravan saying that I was not able to attend the class live because of this timing issue. And he told, let's catch up on a call. He gave me 1 hour. We started talking about my experience and Shravan's experience. So he's a great person to learn from, to have the right mindset more than anything else. So I've been in the education industry. You'll see this kind of a mindset from a teacher very rarely. So that was a key takeaway. And one more thing, how this course helped me was I'll be joining as a senior program manager intern in Amazon from June 16 to September 5. So US MBAs directly get an entry into the senior program manager role or a senior product manager role. Whatever role you enter in Amazon, it will be in the senior role. And how it helped me was in this internship hunting phase, some of the companies will ask me, do you have any additional documents to add? So in two of the companies where I got a shortlist and I interviewed, I'm yet to hear the result, hopefully. Let's see how it goes. But I specifically added two of the PRDs to it. I'm pretty sure without that, I would not have got an interview call in this very tough market which is going on in USA. So this was my whole experience in this. Anytime anyone has any more questions regarding this, feel free to reach out to me. All
Jeff,
the best, everyone.
Jeff, do you know
Yeah.
what is I don't think you need to, like, your experience is amazing, but you sitting up at 5:30 in the morning and giving this across, speaking this across itself speaks about the love, the kind of thought process that you carry. This is enough testament. Super proud, man. Super proud. Matlab, like, I just want to say this one thing जो मैं हर बार बोलता हूँ, and again, people who study from me, they have to bear. I'm not a man of few words. So that is not something that happens. But I typically want to kind of tell you is that in life, it is more about that what you typically give back, and it is giving gives you a lot to receive back. It is if you're willing to change your bent of thought process and say nahi yaar, I have tried a certain thing, and if my way of thinking is only for short term thinking, then it is only going to aid me in some step or some next step. But if I really want to change my behavior, the first thing will happen with me. So super proud, man. Super proud. Matlab, I had no
Yeah.
doubts that something meaningful will happen. Yeah, super good. Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jeff, for joining at 6:30 in the morning. Really
Yeah.
appreciate that. Cool. So I see a lot of questions in the chat, guys. So we will do a proper Q&A at the end. So for anybody so we have people answering questions in the chat. We have a couple of our alumni who are there. But if you think that your question didn't get answered, you can ask it in the end, and we'll like answer it in and get into it in detail. Awesome. Now let's come to the person who I was referring to earlier, who was from the same group as Sonakshi, and their mentor was Unnati, Harsh. He currently serves as a customer success manager at a SaaS startup in Cref. And before that, he served at the likes of Amazon and Flipkart and is an operations and supply chain expert looking to transition. So, Harsh, over to you.
Thank you for the flattering introduction, Athar. So, guys, good evening, everyone. My name is Harsh Tyagi, and I did my graduation in 2017. But after that, I was back then also I was working in a startup only. But then to continue for my further studies, I had to come back to my hometown and leave the job. Uh, uh, my MBA was a three-continent program wherein I spent one trimester in India, one trimester in New York, and one trimester in London. Once I came back from London, like I was looking for roles, and that's when I got campus placed with Amazon. But like it wasn't all goods and glory. So like when I entered the supply chain, like it was all very cutthroat competition. Everything was all about numbers, and like both in both of my companies, like both in Amazon and Flipkart, they're very number focused companies and all. And seasonal hiring and firing was part of my job. So, like after 4 years, I decided to like take a break and reflect on what exactly I want, and is this the right career trajectory that I have taken for myself. I reflected upon it, and like I realized that I was good at understanding people and had a natural sense of empathy. In operations, this empathy felt like a limitation to me at times, but I wanted to turn it into my strength for a more meaningful career. So at first, I considered roles like customer success, account management, project delivery, and all that because I was not very much aware of product management. Fortunately, I also got landed in a good company like later when I joined in Cref, and I loved the culture and everything. Even though I had to take up pay cut while doing that, luckily, that's when I got to know about what exactly a product manager does, and once I got to know about it, I wanted to do it. And who else could have been better? So that's why I asked the people around me, my current APMs and all in my company. There was one thing common in all three of them that all three of them were. We had three APMs. All three of them were alumni of Rethink Systems. One of my colleague was also alumni of Rethink System, who is now promoted to a team lead. So I saw the result that was delivered. So that's when I decided that I should check this out. I did my discovery. So most of you people must have come here after listening to Shravan Bhaiya's YouTube videos and all. But on the contrary, and my discovery was quite the opposite. I discovered Shravan Bhaiya because of Rethink System. So it was the other way around for me. Uh, so like I loved the videos. Bhaiya ki matlab videos are very explanatory, and his way of teaching is also quite fun. Like you can spend hours and hours and you won't even realize. So I was sold to the concept, to the idea and everything. So I tried to apply, but by the time I was done with my discovery, the cohort three's deadline was already done for application. In the time being, I thought it's better to apply elsewhere. So I did a product management course from IIM Bangalore. But once the application for cohort four were announced, must have been the one of the first few people who might have applied. It took me for 30, 40 good hours, but the questions were interesting and I enjoyed filling the form as well. After that, I left it to God and luckily got selected. So I was very foolish. I had very stupid expectations. I thought that I would be learning stuff like PM, basic PM jargons and tools, how to use them, what to do, what not to do, and kind of stuff. But like what actually and also that I'll be spending a couple of hours on a daily basis, and on weekends I would be studying a little extra. But the course was way more demanding than I had expected. We used to start at like 8 p.m., 9 p.m. in the evening, and used to go to bed by 2 p.m., 3 p.m. almost on a daily basis. At times it used to stretch to 6 a.m. also and but we loved it. It was very challenging, very demanding, but we loved it. We like Unnati was also part of my group, and just like Shravan Bhaiya said, there is a huge difference in her confidence, the way she speaks. And also, like it is a coincidence that she was also my schoolmate as well. Like we got to know about it later. We studied in the same group, same school, same city, everything, but we met here. So all about this. Then one more thing that I'd like to discuss was what rating system actually gave me. Like I told you what my expectations were, but what I actually got was like I learned about structured thinking, how to think, method thinking, and it changed how I see my work. And now going the extra mile feels natural to me because my career has a clear purpose. So there is that from me. And also, like when I joined Rethink, if speaking on a career wise, like I was handling clients, and I was struggling handling four clients. But after my cohort ending and all everything, so now it feels like I have 28 hours, and my company has assigned me seven clients now, and even then I'm able to like thrive. I don't find it any much challenging and all that stuff. So there's that also, like I could see the result.
That's so nice. Matlab, I led you to do more work. Makes sense. Makes sense. Task accomplished. Very nice. Cool, yeah, Harsh. Very nice. Very nice. Let's move forward, yeah.
Awesome, Harsha. Thank you so much. So now, guys, we have two more people who will basically be sharing their experiences with us. So the first person is Korak. So a very funny story about Korak is he recently transitioned into product management at his current org. But the funny part is that he was the winner of a feature-a-thon that we had done as part of our as part of a competition that we did at Rethink. So he earned his entry literally into the program that way, and I will share his Google Pay PRD with everybody. It's a brilliantly written PRD, so you guys can go through that also. But yeah, Korak, over to you.
Thanks, Athav. Thanks for the introduction. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kodak. By the way, I don't have any MBA degree. I did my master's in economics and data science. And professionally, I have around 8 years of experience across different sectors, starting from code operations to political analysis to tourism. And currently, I am working in a senior tech industry. So I'll take you through the entire journey of mine through this cohort. So before joining here, I was working as a product guy in my current organization. I was building product, but without any formal PM knowledge. I was learning by doing, but the process was really slow and scattered. I was watching number of YouTube channels, YouTube videos, reading different books, articles, scrolling through LinkedIn. My expectation before joining this cohort was to have a structured learning, also to gain a formal foundation of code PM knowledge. And also I was always wanted to get into the habit of regular practice of different PM exercises, like creating PRDs, writing regularly on LinkedIn, talking to different product managers or product guys in the communities. So during the cohort, I not only learned about the core PM skills, most importantly, I learned about how to think. And as a PM, I developed the skill to ask the why about any problem statement as part of the discovery. And because of which, I feel more confident at this point of time on my skill, and which allow me to do more and more experiments with the work that I do on a daily basis. And I'm really grateful to Shravan bhai ki I during the cohort I promoted to a PM role. And if I have to think about the best part of the cohort is the community. So you will be working on your weekly case studies till, as Harsh also mentioned, till midnight, sometime extending till 2:30, 3, 4 at night. But the effectiveness or the experience of the peer-to-peer learning is amazing. There will be like this community is something like one for all and all for one. Also, Sonakshi was also mentioning this part. However, if you're planning to do this with your full-time job, it's going to be hectic. So be prepared for that. You have to constantly juggle between your office and your case study, and anything and everything else in your life has to take a backseat because this cohort demands a lot of time and effort. But trust the process is going to be super fun experience, especially when you start seeing changes in you. Yeah, there's nothing much to say. It has changed me. uh, it has changed my thought process. So all the best. I would love to see most of you in the next cohort, and I'll drop my LinkedIn profile link as well in the chat. So don't hesitate to reach out to me if you have anything to ask. Thank you, everyone.
Just to set context, Korak is an introvert. If he is speaking in front
Yes.
of 70 odd people,
Yes, yes. This
it is
is
itself a very big thing that is putting
yes.
across.
Yes.
Superb,
Thank
superb,
you,
Korak,
Shravan bhai.
Korak, superb, superb.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks, Korak, for your this thing. And I'll share your PRD with everybody if you don't mind. Right, so
No,
that
no,
everybody can see
absolutely.
what you're
Yes,
doing,
yes,
right?
yes. Sure.
Awesome, awesome. So let's move to the last person who will be speaking with us today. So the last person is none other than Unnati. Some of you have probably heard of her before. So Unnati was part of our first program, and she made a transition after that into product management by joining an organization in Hyderabad. And then obviously we absorbed her into our company, into Rethink Systems as a product manager and design lead. So Unnati, why don't you share your story now?
Sure, sure. Thanks, Athar, for the introduction. So I won't take much time since a lot has already been said, right? I just want to share what actually made a difference for me, right? And that's what shaped my journey basically, because I have done BBA, very famous degree, but bring nothing to the table. But yeah, and then worked in operations, then transitioned to PM through this program, and now building Rethink Systems. So the biggest thing which I realized, this isn't just a program and where the content is the main thing. No, I guess it's an ecosystem where you grow, right? So not just as a product person but as an overall person, right? Because I guess content is same everywhere. Yeah, in the world of AI and GPT and even unlimited resources where YouTube is the biggest content resource material right now, you have access to everything. But what truly sets you apart is the people, right? And that's actually helped me a lot. And let's be very very real. Transitions don't happen in just 7-8 weeks. It's a continuous process, and that's where the whole community comes together, because you need people who will support you and believe in you. And that's what exactly happened with me, because I still remember October 2022 or 2022, I guess, yes, where Athar was my mentor in my first program, and he literally helped me with my mock interviews and PRDs, content, everything. I even asked thousands of questions, I still remember, where I called Shravan कि मुझे ये समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, how will I will be able to crack my role, I don't want to work in operations, it's very new for me and all. A lot of things are there, man, but you have to be consistent enough to ask these questions, then only a person will help you, right? So the only differentiator here is that you will get a community, you will get a sort of people who will help you, and then only your mindset will get changed. Because currently the only differentiator is your mindset, otherwise everything is AI here, right? So this program changed the way I see things. Even it's a mindset shift game only, क्योंकि अगर सिर्फ टूल सीखने होते हैं तो बहुत सारी चीजें ऑलरेडी इज देयर ओनली, राइट? देन व्हाई वी हैव टू इन्वेस्ट 9 weeks? So yeah, but if you truly want to grow, I guess we have to be consistent, and these 9 weeks will be the best 9 weeks, I guess. So you will see the difference. So yeah, because I have seen it in myself also. So yeah, over to you, Atar.
Very nice. From doing a BBA to speaking in front of 100 students at IIT Kharagpur. That's a catchphrase that I would like to write on my LinkedIn profile for sure. Makes sense. Makes sense. Super cool, yeah. Super cool. बहुत बढ़िया.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks, Unnati, for sharing your experience as well. Now, guys, let's move on to the highlights. I think this is something that everybody's been waiting for. So let's talk about some of the highlights. So we've had approximately around 260, 270 people that we've taught across the past four programs. We started in November 2022, where we did our first batch as a side hustle, which because we were just testing out, how this entire thing will work. So I still remember Shravan and I used to discuss this, and one fine day, Shravan decided that, let's make a WhatsApp group. And that WhatsApp group basically led to this entire thing coming up, because that WhatsApp group used to tell us that, why, hey, Shravan Bhaiya, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? So one of the ideas from that was structured learning in a cohort based program. And that's where we started. So now we are here. Obviously, we are launching program 5 now. So it's thanks to everybody who has been part of the community so far and will continue to get added in the future as well. Apart from that, we've also had people crack 100 roles. It's actually more than 100, but I think this is the last figure that I remember. So it could be intern roles for people in college. It could be product managers, associate product managers, senior product managers. We've had a couple of lead PM roles also that have been cracked. So I think the entire thesis that we are trying to drive is the entire community aspect. So this entire thing that you'll see will all be centered towards the community, because we personally feel that without the community we would not be anywhere, right? And that's why the entire credit goes to the community for putting in so much hard work and cracking all of these roles. And I think this number is just going to go higher considering the kind of people that we have. Next, our overall program NPS has been 93 across all programs. I mean, I'm averaging it out here. And the biggest takeaway for us from that was that people are genuinely liking the things that we are doing, right? I think this is the biggest indicator of that. And of course, we are very big on, what people say. We're very big on feedback. So being product managers ourselves, I think the biggest takeaway for us is listen to your customers, right? In our case, it is students. So it's listen to your students for us. So that's why, again, the NPS speaks for itself. 20 plus successful leaders. So every program we have 5 or 6 leaders who come to our program and grace us in the form of master sessions. So we have had the likes of Akash Gupta, Claire, who is a CPO of a billion-dollar company. We've also had Indian leaders like Pawan, who's a VP product at Freight Tiger, who eventually ended up hiring Arjun. So we had a lot of people like that who basically come, share their journeys, tell us how they've made it big in their life, so that people can get a perspective. Because Shravan's perspective is one of the perspectives, right? You'd obviously benefit if you get multiple such perspectives from people who have done as well as him, or if not better, right? So that is why we like to call them as well. And in the next program, we'll have another 5 or 6 people who will come, who will grace us, who will tell us about their journey and help us understand how we can become like them. And of course, we've had students from 7+ countries. We had Jeff join us from the US. India is primarily where most of our students are from, but we have people from Germany, Australia, UK, and a bunch of other places. Now let's talk about the fun part. So after everybody does their entire, you'll see the smiles on the faces of all the alumni that we have. So after all the 9 weeks of hard work that you put in and kind of, make your PRDs, sit the entire night, figure out how you want to do it for the presentation, we have a graduation retreat that happens, where we basically, it's a separate event that we do, where everybody who is interested in coming can basically join us in having a weekend extravaganza that we do. So in the last program, we had gone to Goa and we spent 2 days over there. So these are some of the photos. I'd love to share more photos with you guys, but just due to me giving it one slide, I've only put 6, but there are like at least 200, 300 photos that we had taken over there and had a lot of fun. So that is another thing that we do. Now let's move to the inside the program stuff, right? I think we spoke a lot about outside. Let's talk about what happens inside now. So the first week, which is week 0 that happens, is all about the 1% operator mindset conversation. I don't think I'll be able to do justice to it. So Shravan, would you like to explain this lecture to everyone?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things that I want all of you to take away is that content is not differentiator. Content is no differentiator as long as it's not actionable. So what I mean by that is anything that you read. See, I have done enough content. I'll give you a very interesting statistic. My YouTube channel has done 2.5 million views, right? But in aggregate, there are 500 people who have made potential transitions over 600 odd people. Why is that number 0.1%? Why is that not that number 50,000? Right? Agar itna acha content hai, people have gone to Google, Microsoft, Coinbase, and other places. Why some people make it and why some people don't? Right? The reason is because sunne se kuch nahi hota. Even if you take anything from this session, now if you don't apply that in your life, it's just one more conversation that you heard and you will forget about it in the next 2 hours or 3 hours. Right? That is the reason the first week typically talks about how does a great operator, and I'm very loosely using the word operator here, because you have seen people saying that I am a program manager, but I'm a very good program manager now. Similarly, somebody saying I'm a very good marketing manager and I'm a very good marketing manager now. So this is what an operator is. Operator basically means somebody who builds, right? And how do you essentially have that mindset in which you say that I will be resilient, I will show leadership from my perspective, I will lead, right? And I will have empathy to listen to people, right? I will be okay with contrary opinions and things like that. That is when you will learn from everybody around you, right? A lot of time as you grow in your careers na rigidity aati hai. Jab koi insan, when somebody's early in college, there is not much direction, right? But rigidity in the person is flexible. You can teach. As you grow in your careers, you have 10 years, 15 years, You are rigid in how I think, how certain processes work. And that is where the first week typically focuses on that. How do you break those biases? How do you learn from everybody, even somebody who is an entry level fresher who probably is teaching you some perspective, and somebody who's 25 years of experience, and you learn from that person also. Second is, I think the second thing that I want to talk about is, a lot of people ask me this question also, right? Ki, bhaiya, aisa kyun hota hai ki if I am from fintech, then only fintech people take me. If I am from edtech, then only edtech people take me. If I am from a certain industry, then only certain people. Because for most roles, there is two kinds of expertise. There is something called functional expertise, and there is something called product expertise, right? What is functional expertise? Like, for example, Jitin, agar wo aaj ki date mein kisi bank mein kaam karte hain and he works 10 years there, it is obviously okay for him to join a new bank because he knows processes, he knows how the industry works, right? Most people are poor at product principles, right? How do you look at first principle? How do you look at this right problem? Are you solving it for the right person? And since product principles strong nahi hote na, people say, let me compensate for somebody who comes from a very strong functional expertise, because at least wo mera kaam to kar dega. He will be able to do that work for me, right? So that is where we typically go towards, and we say, and that is the reason I was able to successfully transition across 7 industries. Started from e-commerce, then logistics, then streaming, then real estate, then post that education in 3 different domains. A lot of people ask me, yaar, bhaiya, aap jump kaise kiye? Because it was the ability to look at any problem from a first principle, from a very fundamental level, and say that functional expertise to aa jayegi. Can I make my skill set transferable? Can I do that? And I think that's where we focus on. The third is, how do you solve complex problems, right? Product problems are at a fundamental unit level are very simple problems. Like, there are 70 people sitting in the call, right? If I have to effectively figure this out, how many people are actually listening, now that's a product problem, right? That's a real product problem, right? Because there are some people who are just listening it to it, they are just connected into the call. There are some people who are actively listening. There are some people who are taking away notes and probably seeing that how do you, and that is when you derive an output, that what is the total outcome of this particular session for you guys or for anybody. So typically, if you are able to appreciate complexity in life, then only you'll make meaningful simplicity. A product, an Apple product, is a supercomputer, but how simple it is to use. So unfortunately, we say in product management, build simple things, but in order to build simple things, you need to appreciate complexity. That this is so that is what we focus on. The third week is, how do you develop design thinking? How do you essentially translate that product value to something that is very easy to use? मैं एक एग्जांपल देता हूँ. कभी आपने ये सोचा है कि आप मेक माई ट्रिप, इक्सिगो, किसी की भी वेबसाइट देखते हो, सबका डिजाइन सेम ही क्यों है? From, to, and number of people and search, right? This is also comes from a very strong design element, because everybody who comes to the website wants to essentially figure out, where am I going, how many people are going, and are there flights available or not, right? And that is the reason you see similar behavior across same websites, and that is where the design thinking part comes into across. How do you build such designs that at scale people will be able to use it very, very meaningfully? Then we talk about analytics in week 4. Again, one of the things about analytics, as product managers do, they think that every metric is meaningful. Not necessarily, right? Number of people in the call does not mean number of attentive people in the call. These are two different things to talk about. So how do you look at analytics system? How do you essentially design the right metrics? How do you look at the most meaningful things for your business, for your product, or for your career in general, right? That is typically what is taught across in analytics and beyond, which is week 4. The week 5 is where we talk about, how do you build great product roadmaps? How do you write amazing PRDs? How do you write better business requirement documents? How do you do great wireframing? How do you drive sustainable growth? Right? There are growth systems. आप ad चलाओगे तो उससे भी traffic आ जाएगा, लेकिन आप actionably कैसे growth ला सकते हो from a B2B, B2C, AI-enabled setup from different backgrounds, right? The 6th part is my most favorite lecture of the program, which is Tech for PMs, because here we talk about general systems theory, right? That how do you look at general systems together in itself? And a system does not necessarily have to be a tech system. ये system design खाली backend नहीं है. How do you even design a meaningful team? How do you design a meaningful culture, right? How do you design things in which you are able to thrive in ambiguous situations, right? Us general systems theory, and believe me, if you understand system dynamics, you will be able to thrive across most ambiguous situations. And what I mean by ambiguous situations is, for example, as you grow through the product ladder, na, आपके साथ पता क्या होगा? As you are an APM, you will be told, make this feature. As you are a PM, they'll say, oh, I don't know what the solution is. The problem is I want to drive engagement. As you become an SPM, I don't know what the problem is even, right? As you become a PPM, कौन सी industry में करना है sir? मुझे नहीं पता, आप फिगर आउट खुद करो, पर $10 million का रेवेन्यू लेके आओ मेरे लिए. That is what we typically teach in how do you build great systems, right? And this is a very special part because I'm myself a student of system dynamics, right? And the last part is, I think जो आप सबको मेरे से take away लेके जाना चाहिए. Today, personal brand is a necessity, right? Gone are the days when people used to look at resumes, right? You have to build. So there is this philosophy called show, don't tell. करके दिखाओ, राइट? मैं तभी आपको ये बात बोलता हूं, आपको मेरी, यू डोंट हैव टू टेक माय वर्ड फॉर हाउ द प्रोग्राम इज, हाउ द कोर्सेज. मैं यहाँ पे कोर्स सेल करने नहीं बैठा, मैं आपको ये बताने की कोशिश कर रहा हूं, आप स्वयं से डिस्कवर करो. Put some time, लगाओ 2 घंटे, look at all testimonials, whatever is given, talk to people, right? And essentially get a sense of that. Once 50 other, मेरे एक बहुत अच्छे मेंटोर थे, वो हमेशा ये बोलते थे, श्रवण, if you really want to build credibility, people should talk about you. You should not talk about yourself, right? So go and do your discovery, and that is why the personal brand is important. आज की डेट में जब मैं कुछ लिखता हूं, out of 10 people who I reach out to, 8 respond back, and that is why we have such amazing people grace the program. Somebody is a VP at Google, somebody is a VP at Adobe. वो पैसे देके थोड़ी आ रहा है मेरे लिए, वो दोस्त है मेरा यार. He likes my content, he likes, I'm adding some value to his life, and that is where networks are formed. And today is a world where your network is your net worth, right? And essentially my journey as a content creator, I help you drive that also, and you learn that aspects, but again, it comes with a lot of consistency. So it's a very holistic way of looking at leadership, growth, fundamental systems, general systems theory, and effectively become a very good operator, whether you are a PM, whether you're an SPM, whether you're a PPM, whether you're a director of product. These principles are profound, cut across all levels. तभी मैं बार बार ये बात बोलता हूँ, एजुकेशन पे पैसा करना तभी अच्छी बात है, या एजुकेशन पे पैसे लगाना जब वो ट्रांसफॉर्मेटिव हो. ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन पता कहां से होती है? द फर्स्ट आर्टिकल, डू यू नो व्हाट्स इन द हार्वर्ड बिजनेस रिव्यू? कैन एनीबॉडी टेल मी? देयर इज अ वेरी नाइस बुक, HBR 30, right? The first article of the book is not how to build a product, it's not how to build a $1 billion company, it's not how to build a team. The first article is how to become the best version of oneself. Because if that change happens in you ना, अगर श्रवण ही नहीं लिखेगा तो आप क्यों लिखोगे? सीधी बात है ना, lead from the front. So that is the mindset that you typically carry, and यही reason है. Do you know these 100 roles, they never came because मैंने रेफरल दिए या कुछ वैसा हुआ. It was also that first program खत्म हुआ, कोई बंदा थर्ड प्रोग्राम में पहुंचा and he cracked the role. And in these markets, right, where people, मेरे पास बच्चे आते हैं, भैया कुछ हो ही नहीं रहा, ये ही नहीं हो रहा, that is where you essentially have to. मैंने ये बहुत साल पहले अपने मन में सोच लिया था कि I don't want to go to people, people should come to me, right? And the best way to do that is bring something on paper. श्रवण को बात नहीं करनी, श्रवण का काम देखो, आप काम देखो, काम देख के आप खुद आओगे, मुझे बताने की जरूरत नहीं. तो आई थिंक यही माइंडसेट शिफ्ट फ्रॉम what you have to leave behind, what you have to unlearn in the first week. How do you look at deeper problems, asking the why behind the why. Third, looking at complexity, appreciating it. Fourth, looking at elements of design thinking. Fifth, designing analytics system, how data is collected, how you look at the right metrics, how you look at meaningful aspects. Shark Tank वाली feeling आ जाएगी आपको. Next is how do you build the perfect roadmap? How do you look at growth? And last, system dynamics, which is again a very favorite lecture of mine. और इसी पे हम एक भगवत गीता का lecture भी करते हैं, वो भी बहुत interesting है. How you essentially look about in life, because we do a lot of fun sessions also, right? And the last thing is where I teach about personal branding, networking. How do you essentially leverage that across, so that ऐसा थोड़ी होना चाहिए यार कि आप ये प्रोग्राम करो, फिर 6 महीने बाद फिर यही इसी तरह का कोई प्रोग्राम करोगे अगले के लिए, फिर इसी 6 महीने बाद फिर से एक और प्रोग्राम करोगे. आपको ग्रो करना है, आपको नेक्स्ट चीज पे जंप करना है. इसके बाद आपके लिए प्रोडक्ट लीडरशिप होनी चाहिए, उसके बाद आपके लिए कुछ और मीनिंगफुल होना चाहिए, राइट? दिस माइंडसेट बेंड हैज टू कम. तो आई थिंक इससे ज्यादा मैं बात नहीं करना चाहता. आप सबको ये इसके बाद रीथिंक सिस्टम्स पे जाना चाहिए. हम एक करिकुलम भी वहां डाल रहे हैं, बिकॉज कुछ लोगों ने आके हमें बोला कि करिकुलम डिटेल में भी होना है, वो भी हम डाल देंगे. मोस्ट लाइकली कल या परसों तक होगा, बट आपको जेन्युइनली टाइम स्पेंड करना चाहिए उस जगह. 1 घंटा लगाओ, बिकॉज देखो यार, इफ यू कैन स्पेंड 2.5 months फॉर समथिंग मीनिंगफुल फॉर योर करियर, एंड यू कैन स्ट्राइव बैक समथिंग ना, तभी आप कुछ एस्पिरेशनल एस्पायर कर सकते. लेट्स नॉट लुक एट लाइव्स एट लाइक फनल्स, कि 100 जगह अप्लाई करूंगा, फिर 10 जगह से कॉल आएगी, फिर 2 जगह जाऊंगा, फिर ये करूं. ऐसे मत करो यार, खुद के लिए भी तो कुछ चूज करो यार, कि मेरे को ऐसा जीवन जीना है, राइट? सो आई थिंक दैट इज व्हाट. मैं इससे ज्यादा ज्ञान नहीं देना चाहता, आगे चलते हैं. लेट्स मूव फॉरवर्ड. यस,
Cool. Thanks, Shravan. Yeah, I think he explained everything but one thing. So in week 8, we do this very interesting thing called a productathon. So a productathon basically, it's very simple. In today's world, as Shravan said, show don't tell, right? So showing documentation is great, right? But what are you bringing to the table with that documentation is something that you have to answer for yourself as well, right? And there's a reason why startup founders are the most hireable people on the planet. right? Because they actually have something to show on their resume. Ki I took this company from X to Y, I built this product from Y to Z, or whatever that might be, right? What people usually do is they write small specks of, what they've made of change that they've made in their resume, right? For example, if I work at Microsoft, I worked in the Teams team, which is pun intended, and I made these XYZ changes. But if you ask Bill Gates, ki, what did you do at Microsoft? He built the company, right? So that is why we do this thing called a productathon, where you have to ship out a live MVP in 10 days with all the constraints that are there. So you have to upskill yourself, you have to learn low code, no code tools because most people are not engineers. And in today's time, AI can do most things that you can think of, right? Like at least at an MVP level, you might not be able to build a scalable MVP, but you can at least build a POC MVP, right? Where you can actually show that this is the problem that I was trying to solve. This is what it actually means, and this is why I'm solving it. And here's how it gets solved with the entire user flow end to end, right? Because again, we believe in whole shippable experiences. So your last week will be about the productathon, where you will have to build teams amongst the batch that you have. You can also refer to the alumni network that we have. They'll also help you out in that, and you can do this activity, right? So that's the last thing before the graduation retreat, obviously. Cool. So what is the structure of the program? I think this is a very interesting question that I've received quite a bit. So if I divide the week into, I mean, the week has 7 days. So every day you will be meeting your team members because the problem statements that we'll be giving are not going to be easy, right? It will require 7 to 10 people's dedicated effort, at least 1 or 2 hours a day. Even if they are not coming for the calls, they will be expected to submit their deliverables, right? Because everybody understands if on 1 or 2 days you're not available, something happened in your life, or maybe something needs your attention, that's completely okay, right? People will fill in for each other, but then you'll have to fill in for somebody else when they are not able to come, right? So this is the thing. We have team connects every day. Every Tuesday, Shravan finds random things that he likes to talk about to the community. So he reads a lot of random stuff. So he likes to share it with the community where he thinks that, it will be useful for people that are there. So he took a random session on, just learning principles. For example, he took a random session on AI. I think Shravan, you can talk about some sessions that you've taken.
Yeah,
But the point is every Tuesday is reserved for that. You have 1 hour sessions which happen, or if they don't have if he doesn't have a session, that he just does a Q&A where people can come and talk to him about whatever they want to, problems, maybe some transition that you're looking at, maybe some company which you want feedback on, or anything like that. So it's a public forum where you can come and discuss things, right? Then Wednesday is when we have our master sessions. Master sessions happen for 1 hour. They happen on Wednesday where a leader of some industry comes. So we've had product leaders, marketing leaders, sales leaders from all across the world grace us. So the list of guests of masters that will be there will be released very shortly. At least we'll try to release 2 or 3 of them so that you can get a sense of what kind of people will be calling for this program as well. And then, of course, Thursday, Friday, you have your team connects. And then Saturday, Sunday, you have your lectures. You have Shravan's lectures, which happen on the weekend. They start at 12 p.m. IST and they go on all the way till maybe 3 or 4 o'clock, depending on how dense the lecture is and how many questions people have at the end, right? This is it for the weeks. Now let's come to what all do we do apart from the lectures, right? So there's one-to-one mentor connects which you do. So you'll be divided into subgroups, right? Of around 7 to 10 people approximately. Each group will be assigned a mentor. The mentor will be will already be a PM, and they will be an alumni of our program. So they will know exactly what you can expect because they've gone through your journey. So the way we like to say it is Shravan is responsible for your learning. The mentor is responsible for your experience. How much fun are you having? How much you're able to learn? What are the things that you're focusing on? Is there any gap that you see between, what Shravan is saying and what you're basically receiving, or what your team members are saying? So you'll have a mentor to you. Each group will have their own mentor, and you can expect personalized guidance and assistance from them. You can ping them; they'll be happy to help you out in whatever help you require. We also have mock interview sessions where from week 4 onwards we move into doing mock interviews. So the main aim for mock interviews is you should get an experience or a sense of how product management interviews are done, because it's not easy. It's very, very ambiguous, and whenever you're put on a spot, people usually start fumbling, right? So we want people to have that experience of what it takes, and we do that at our level as well as, we tell people to reach out to alumni and all, because we have a lot of product managers in the alumni network as well. So you can ask them, they'll be very happy to help you out. Like we have a very vibrant community in that sense, and just asking for help gets you help over here, which I don't know where else that happens, right? Awesome. Next is your group assignments that I spoke about. I think so every Sunday you'll be given a case study by Shravan and you'll have to solve that as a group. So in the first 2 weeks, your mentor will handhold you. They'll guide you because you're still new to the ecosystem. From the third week onwards, we will assign a group leader based on whoever wants to take that initiative. And then you will be responsible for the entire shipping out of the PRD, along with the designs, along with the analytics, along with everything that goes with that. Right? Then we have breakout room case study session. So in the session itself, Shravan finds some interesting case study that he would like everybody to discuss. And then we have a 20-30 minute breakout room session in that, where you have to come up with a solution to that entire problem statement. And you have to structure your answer in a way which makes sense, which obviously in the beginning you might have a little bit of trouble with. But the goal is to eventually, by the end of it, reach a stage where you can hold yourself in a conversation in an ambiguous situation, right? So that's the entire goal. Of course, and then we do community meetups. So all the community meetups that we do, we'll keep mentioning them on the groups. We do them across. As of now, it's only happening in India because we are only in India. But slowly, as steadily, when the alumni network increases and we have people in more countries, we'll start doing meetups over there as well. So Bangalore meetups happen quite often, maybe once a month they happen, and then we try to do sporadically across other cities also. But yeah, you'll have community meetups as well. And lastly, most importantly, post program experience, like what happens after the 9 weeks are over. I think this is a question that I've received the most out of all of them. So after the program is over, your the journey is just starting there, right? Like your journey doesn't end in the program, your journey starts there. Now you're equipped with new skills, new abilities to kind of break down a problem better, to understand things in a slightly more strategic manner, to figure out trends and patterns like like never before, because you've been put into that grind, right? So after the program, there are only two things that can happen. One is the program is over, so you put your foot off the gas and you say that, Acha, a program ho gaya, now let me go back to my old life. The second thing that you can do is you can use the momentum of the program and thrust yourself into the next orbit that you want to talk about, right? So this is what happens over there. We'll put the details of this on the website as well for everybody who wants to know. And of course, we do a lot of community meetups and all of that. So we, for example, have a PM prep group as well, where people are regularly talking to each other and studying on product management trends and all of that in our WhatsApp group after the program is over, right? So I think this is it. Now, very important, what do we expect from people? We've talked about what you can expect from us, but we've not talked about what we expect from people, right? So I think, Shravan, can you talk a little bit about this?
Sure, yeah. So I think दो तीन चीजें हैं. First thing is I told you. See, in these 2 months or 10 months, I'm expecting you to give maximum time to me. वो 2 महीने मेरे हैं, वो 2 महीने आपके नहीं है, राइट? क्योंकि आप मुझसे ये एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हो. देखो, दो चीजें. You come here with an expectation like I want to learn some framework, some things around it. तो मत आओ, कोई फायदा नहीं. मतलब it's not valuable enough, because tools framework सिखा के कि आज कुछ है, कल कुछ और होंगे, परसों कुछ और होंगे, कब तक this redundancy will exist, right? Take something which is prolonged for you, और वो तभी होगा जब आप when everyday thinking. So how I typically say this is, in the program you don't learn product management, you look at general problem solving. कि मेरे सामने जीवन में कोई नया डिसीजन आया, मुझे अब अगर नई कंपनी ज्वाइन करनी तो मैं कैसे डिसाइड करूंगा कि is this good culture, is this meaningful to me, right? And that can only happen when you start thinking every day about it. कि if you look at a problem, you're curious, you wake up in the morning, you find something interesting and you say, wow, this is the conversation starter for me and I want to learn from it, right? So that is why intent is highly important. One of the things, अगर आप क्या करना, इसके बाद ना स्वैग वाला पीएम पे जाना और गेस्ट लेक्चर सारे देखना. सारे गेस्ट अलग अलग जगहों के, कोई एडोबे से है, कोई माइक्रोसॉफ्ट से, कोई, और मैंने वी हैव पुट, जनरली हम गेस्ट लेक्चर्स क्या करते हैं, कम्युनिटी के लिए भी डाल देते हैं. आपके लिए तो चलो, जो हु कम इनटू द प्रोग्राम दे हैव डायरेक्ट एक्सेस टू दीस पीपल, बट फॉर अदर पीपल, फॉर द लार्जर कम्युनिटी, वी पुट द रिकॉर्डेड सेशंस फॉर एवरीबॉडी. One thing stands out very simply, अगर आप सच में नोटिस करोगे, everybody talks about fundamental behavioral attributes. You are resilient. You don't take negative feedback very seriously. You do constructive criticism. अब ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है कि 20 leaders, somebody from fintech, somebody from SaaS, somebody from Amazon, somebody from, they're talking about the same damn thing. How is that possible? And these 20 people मिले थोड़ी हैं एक दूसरे से, ये पर बात सेम ही चीज की कर रहे हैं. क्यों? क्योंकि इंटेंट मैटर्स. सो इंटेंट क्या होता है कि यू कम, बिकॉज एवरीथिंग दैट यू लुक एट अ प्रॉब्लम ना, यू कैन गो वन लेवल डीपर एंड एसेंशियली से दिस इज द मोस्ट मीनिंगफुल थिंग दैट. सो द फर्स्ट थिंग दैट वी एक्सपेक्ट इज इंटेंट. अगर आप टाइम नहीं दे सकते, पैसे से कहीं ज्यादा बड़ी इन्वेस्टमेंट ये 200-250 घंटे की है. अगर आप ये 200-250 घंटे नहीं दे सकते, मत आओ ना। इससे अच्छा मेरा यूट्यूब चैनल है, उस पर मैंने इतना पढ़ा रखा है, वहां पे पढ़ सकते हो आप, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, कोई दिक्कत नहीं। लेकिन अगर टाइम के लिए आओगे तब जाके आप बोलोगे यार कि यस आई एम अ डिफरेंट पर्सन नाउ, और वही यूएसपी है। यूएसपी ये नहीं, और इसी उसी में नेटवर्क कम्युनिटी हेल्प करती है। तो इंटेंट इज रियली इंपॉर्टेंट। इफ यू कांट गिव टाइम, नॉट द प्रोग्राम फॉर यू। दैट्स वन। सेकंड, you have to be cordial, you don't disrespect people, there are some fundamental ethics, right? आप वो नहीं कर सकते। आप, आपके साथ आप ही की टीम में एक ऐसा बंदा होगा जो आपसे 10 साल जूनियर होगा, आप ही की टीम में एक ऐसा बंदा होगा जो आपसे 10 साल सीनियर भी होगा, राइट? तो आपको दोनों से सीखना है, right? What we do as people in life, we typically grow up and we always look up to only people who are above us, right? But ऐसा थोड़ी होता है। The people who are genuinely humble, they look for and humility is a trait of amazing leaders, because आप सब leaders बनने आए हो। मैं हमेशा ये बोलता हूँ, प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर बनना तो एक बात है, अच्छा प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर बनना है, राइट? सेकंड चीज। थर्ड, गिव ऑब्जेक्टिव फीडबैक। ओपिनियन और फीडबैक में अंतर होता है सर। ओपिनियन मेरा व्यू है, फीडबैक का मतलब होता है एक्शनेबल। फीडबैक इज नेवर गुड और बैड, इट्स एक्शनेबल और नॉन एक्शनेबल, एज सिंपल एज दैट। मैं कुछ कर सकता हूं इस फीडबैक से या नहीं कर सकता हूं, राइट? ये तीसरी चीज है। चौथी, यू हैव टू लर्न फ्रॉम द कम्युनिटी, यू हैव टू मेक फ्रेंड्स। आप इमेजिन करो इतना पावरफुल नेटवर्क, अगर आप इन 250 लोगों में ही अगर आपका नेटवर्क बहुत अच्छा बन गया, योर नेक्स्ट रेफरल यू वुड नॉट हैव इवन हैव टू आस्क फॉर एनीबॉडी, बिकॉज हमने ये चीज बहुत क्लियर रखी, यू विल नॉट गेट थ्रू इफ यू डोंट गेट शॉर्टलिस्टेड। इफ यू डोंट गेट शॉर्टलिस्टेड, पैसे की बात ही नहीं होती सर, कोई पॉइंट ही नहीं है। I would happily have 60 great students versus 600 who don't do anything, right? Not the intent. Impact तभी आता है जब आपकी लाइफ में कुछ चेंज होगा, like a real product manager, right? If something doesn't change in your life, it doesn't do anything for me, right? मेरी credibility या इस community की credibility तो तभी बनेगी ना जब हर बच्चा दिल से बोलेगा यार कुछ तो बदला मेरे लिए, something meaningful happened for me. Last, you have to voice out your opinions. If you don't ask questions, नहीं होगा। तो आपको अपने कंफर्ट जोन से, वी विल पुश यू टू गो आउट ऑफ योर कंफर्ट जोन एवरी सिंगल डे, वी विल ब्रेक बायसेस, राइट? अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल रीच आउट टू मी कि यार मार्केट में ऐसा है, ये होना चाहिए। जब सब कुछ वैसा ही होना है तो फिर जिन लोगों की नौकरी लग रही है उनकी कैसे लग रही? मतलब हाउ इज दैट हैपनिंग, राइट? तो इधर यू आर विद द रॉन्ग सेट ऑफ पीपल और योर देयर इज अ डिफरेंस इन माइंडसेट, राइट? एंड दैट्स द रीजन मैंने इतने सारे स्टूडेंट्स को रखा, मैंने बोला आप बात करो, राइट? सोचने के तरीके से। लॉट ऑफ टाइम्स इन प्रोडक्ट मैनेजमेंट इट्स नेवर अबाउट द सॉल्यूशन, इट्स अबाउट व्हाट क्वेश्चंस डू यू आस्क, राइट? इफ आई आस्क द मोस्ट मीनिंगफुल, जो बच्चा मेरे से आके लिंक्डइन पे ये पूछता है ना भैया रेज्यूमे बना दो, राइट? नहीं भाई, नहीं काम है मेरे लिए। कोई बच्चा मेरे पास आता है बोलता है आई हैव वॉच्ड योर ग्रोथ वीडियो, आई हैव लर्नड दिस फ्रॉम इट एंड दिस इज समथिंग दैट आई एम ब्लॉक्ड एट, आई विल हैप्पीली हेल्प। इट शोज दैट द पर्सन हैज शोन इंटेंट। मनी कैन नॉट बाय सक्सेस इन लाइफ, राइट? और अनलेस यू शुड हैव लाइक what can truly buy you success in life is that if you become excellent. If you become excellent, success will be a byproduct. If a person from Jammu who never thought can give a lecture at whatever meaningful places in the world, and मैंने कभी अपने जीवन में सोचा ही नहीं था, तो यार आप सब लोग तो काबिल हो, कर ही सकते हो, right? So again, come only with the fact if you're willing to dedicate time. If you don't get shortlisted, sorry, shortlist is a behavioral criteria for us, right? क्योंकि bad actors pollute the community very fast. There is always good customer and bad customer, राइट? बैड कस्टमर वो होता है जो अनटूवर्ड, कोई किसी की नौकरी नहीं लगा सकता। जो आज की इकोसिस्टम में कोई ये बोलते हैं ना ये बातें कि हम आपके लिए ये कर देंगे वो कर देंगे, नहीं भाई, सच बोलना चाहिए। You should be honest and earnest. If you're honest and earnest, that is where you stand out. So we believe there, we believe we want to make you such equipped that we can help you, we can support you, and we can build an ecosystem around you. And eventually your success is yours, right? And that is what we were willing to drive and help you in every possible way. So if you are willing to give time, if you're honest, if you are respectful of other people, if you show and don't just speak and give jargonous advice, if you learn from everybody, if you have that kind of skill set, this is the right place for you. If any of these things, if you think it's a short hack or a quick hack or like I'll pay, यार अगर मैं किसी की 50 लाख की नौकरी, तो मैं उससे 1 लाख रुपए क्यों लूंगा यार? मैं उससे 80,000 रुपए क्यों लूंगा? मैं उससे 25 लाख रुपए नहीं लूंगा अगर मैं 50 लाख की नौकरी लगा रहा हूँ किसी की। मतलब इज इट नॉट रैशनल बिजनेस सेंस, राइट? तो प्लीज डोंट फॉल, डू योर डिस्कवरी। आई डोंट, आप सब कुछ इस प्रोग्राम के बाद ना आपको एप्लीकेशन डायरेक्टली नहीं भरनी, मत करो ये सब। जाओ 1 घंटा लगाओ वेबसाइट पे, सवाल पूछो, गो आउट टू माय स्टूडेंट्स, स्पीक टू देम, डू, ताकि आप निश्चिंत होके आओ। यू कम विद अ वेरी क्लियर माइंडसेट दैट नाउ आई वांट टू वर्क हार्ड, एंड इफ यू वर्क हार्ड तब सक्सेस विल बी अ बाय प्रोडक्ट, राइट? मेहनत नहीं करोगे तो स्वयं भोलेनाथ आ जाए धरती पे, कुछ नहीं हो सकता, ठीक है? मेक सेंस? तो आई थिंक आई गेव माय आंसर, आगे चलते आते हैं। यस,
ऑसम ऑसम, ठीक है। Cool, guys. Now I will just one question which I want to basically ask Shravan, and then we'll move into our Q&A. So everybody who has asked their questions in the chat can ask their questions in person. We'll tell people to raise hands and you guys can ask your questions. So Shravan, only one question. Why did you start Rethink Systems?
Yeah, the name speaks for itself. I was a fan of system dynamics, and I always wanted to figure out why certain systems are super scalable, why certain companies build so meaningful products, why very few people in certain companies are able to build so much value, whereas there are places where with collective audience, collective wisdom, we don't do anything, right? As example, I'll give you a very good example. Just look at it, the profit that Google does every year, right? And do you know the number of people that work in SBI? The valuation of Google is like 25x or 30x, right? The number of people is 1/40th. 1/40th तो मैं बहुत कम बोल रहा हूँ, 100 से, क्योंकि SBI employs a million people, right? What is different? Different is intent, right? And how you look at systems. That how do I make something which is long term, which is not something short term, which is not just jugaad. It's a way of life. It's a way you look at life, right? And I think that is where I wanted to say that let's rethink why product management should be done. Let's rethink how building should be done. Let's rethink how human behaviors should exist. And that is where the name came from, Rethink Systems. It was just that I wanted to understand that this question was always there in my heart. Everybody comes to me, भैया ये framework सीख लूं, ये कर लेते हैं, ये कर लेते हैं, ये mock interview दे दूं, ये कर दूं, वो कर दूं. यार, the easiest thing for any PM to sell his course or whatever and things like that would have been to make an interview prep course, right? But does it really do justice to your life? It might help you crack that interview, but how do you succeed as a great person in that role? And it is typically what you leave behind, that is your benchmark, right? So I think the philosophy was very simple. How do you look at different systems in life in a very different way, which is scalable, which is valuable to everyone? And that is why I started Rethink Systems. And that is why I keep telling you, ये एक PM program नहीं है. मैं फिर रिपीट करता हूँ, ये एक प्रोडक्ट मैनेजमेंट प्रोग्राम नहीं है. आप अब द प्रॉब्लम इज if I say that it's break into product thinking, nobody will come, nobody will understand, right? So the reality is it is just a general ambiguous problem solving kind of a program which teaches you to become a better thinker in life, right? If you do that, you automatically become a better product manager, you become a better operations manager, you become a better professional in whatever the hell you do in your life. You become an engineer, you become whatever you want. So I think that was the philosophy. But yeah, so it has a flavor to it. If I would have been an engineer, for example, this would have been break into engineering. For that is because the principles were very, very similar. Makes sense. Awesome. Yes.
Awesome, guys. So I think we are done with today's session. Thank you so much for joining. I'll just outline the details of the program for you guys on the screen. The duration will be 9 weeks. Our program will start from 8th of March. Price is already mentioned, and the total seats that we'll take is 80, right? And then after that, we'll probably defer you guys to the next one for people. And of course, there is one more important thing for people who get shortlisted. If you're a part of the first 10 people who basically enrolls, you'll get an early bird discount of 5,000 rupees. And if you also get a referral from somebody in the community, because we have a lot of people in the community over here, then also you'll get a discount of 5,000 rupees on your course fee. So you guys can reach out to each other, reach out to the people in the community. They'll be happy to give you a referral. But again, you'll have to win their trust because they've earned their place inside the community, right? So if you're able to convince them, then you'll be able to convince us as well.
That is there.
It's
And the
that
second
simple.
thing that I want to call out is if you don't get shortlisted, in spite of a referral, nothing matters. Shortlisting is the first process. तो ये पहले ही बता रहा हूँ मैं. Referral, ये पैसा 5,000 कम होना ज्यादा होना बात की बात है. पहले शॉर्टलिस्ट होना है, वो ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है, उस पर फोकस करो. वो हो गया, आगे की कॉन्वर्सेशन अपने आप हो जाएगी, कोई दिक्कत नहीं. Sorry.
Makes sense. All right, guys. So now let's break for Q&A. So anybody who has a question with regards to anything that you want to get clarified, ask. I saw a lot of questions in the chat. You can raise your hands and we'll one by one select you guys and we'll answer all questions till we have no more questions left.
It would be great यार. I would recommend people to raise hands and directly ask questions. I think उससे आसान कुछ नहीं होगा. Text में लिखने से काफी ज्यादा अच्छा है. Context खुद set कर लो. That is, and people are there to answer across. Yes. Hey Lina, go for it. Yes.
Hello Shravan. Hello Athar.
Yes.
Long story short, I've had a long conversation. It was a beautiful session. I think you answered most of my questions that were like boggling in my brain. Shravan, thanks a lot. I follow your channel Swagwala PM, and now I can say that you really have that swag, and I'm so impressed with this session. And I also follow you on LinkedIn everywhere.
Thank you very much.
श्रवण, मुझे मुझे प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर बनना है, एंड दिस इज लाइक, ये
Sure.
जुनून ना 2 साल से मेरे दिमाग में है.
Sure.
And it's like, yeah, I was not able to put in enough time because I have a tiny little one.
Yes.
Now he's
I
going
can
to be 2
understand.
years old soon.
Congratulations,
But
Leena. God bless.
thank you so much. But now it's like, अभी लग रहा है कि okay, now I think I can put in enough effort and stuff. But श्रवण, मुझे प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर बनना है.
बहुत अच्छी बात है लीना. आपका
But
सवाल, मैं
yeah,
आपके सवाल का ना थोड़ा सा आंसर देना चाहता हूँ. आपका सवाल थोड़ा बदलना चाहिए लीना. अगर आप ये मेरे को बोलोगे ना कि
जी.
लीना एक, हाउ डज लीना थिंक अबाउट न्यू प्रॉब्लम्स इन लाइफ, इफ यू डेवलप दैट पेंचेंट फॉर क्यूरियोसिटी ना, आपका सपना सच हो जाएगा लीना. लेकिन ये जो पेंचेंट फॉर क्यूरियोसिटी है ना, ये मेहनत,
हाँ,
इसमें दर्द होती है लीना. मतलब
मैं डाल दूंगी.
वो लड़ाई
कोई
लड़नी
बात
पड़ती है, वो लड़ाई लड़नी
कोई
पड़ती
बात
है मुझे.
नहीं. मैं सोना बंद कर दूंगी, खाना बंद कर, सब
बस
बंद कर
अगर
दूंगी,
इतना, अगर
सब
आप,
बंद कर दूंगी.
नहीं इतना करने की जरूरत नहीं है. खाना आप खा सकते हो लीना, कोई दिक्कत नहीं. खाना बंद करने को मैं नहीं बोल रहा आपको, बट ये है
No, but
व्हाट
मेरा
एवर
क्वेश्चन है श्रवण की, आई कम फ्रॉम एन एचआर बैकग्राउंड,
डजंट मैटर.
एंड मेरा जो,
अगेन
हाँ,
मैं आपको फिर यही बताना चाहता हूँ, टू आंसर योर क्वेश्चन, बैकग्राउंड मैटर नहीं करता, कुछ भी मैटर नहीं करता. एक ही चीज मैटर करती है, सिंसियरिटी. उससे ज्यादा कुछ मैटर नहीं करता. अगर आप सच में, आपने खुद ही देखा, देयर आर पीपल फ्रॉम ऑल बैकग्राउंड, देयर इज एन इको ग्रेड, आई हैव हर्ड स्टूडेंट्स, एचआर कहां कहां से स्टूडेंट्स. लेकिन डिफरेंशिएटिंग पता क्या होती है? अब में जिद कितनी है. जिद है ना कि नहीं यार 2 घंटा कम सो जाऊंगी लेकिन काम पूरा करूंगी, whatever the hell it takes, right? And again, मैं आपसे थोड़ी 2 साल मांग रहा हूं, मैं आपसे यूपीएससी की प्रिपरेशन थोड़ी मांग रहा हूं कि आपको 3 साल लगाने मेरे साथ. आपको मेरे को सिर्फ 9 हफ्ते देने हैं. यू हैव टू गिव मी 9 वीक्स. एंड व्हाट विल हैपन आफ्टर 9 वीक्स? सी, आई डोंट नो लीना आप पीएम कब बनोगे, लेकिन मैं ये जरूर बता सकता हूं आपको कि आप बनोगे जरूर. दैट विल हैपन, बिकॉज आई एम नॉट टीचिंग यू, आई एम नॉट गिविंग यू अ फिश, आई एम टीचिंग यू टूल्स. यार ये आपके जीवन के, इन टूल्स को आप कहीं भी लगा लो जीवन में, apply them anywhere in life and you'll be successful.
yeah,
But learning those tools comes with the spirit. So you have to, so again, अपने आप से ना, you have a little one, ask your husband and everybody and say that इन 2 महीने या 2.5 महीने के लिए ना लीना is not going to do, वो नहीं जा रही दोस्तों से मिलने, वो कुछ नहीं कर रही, सिर्फ इन 2.5 महीने सिर्फ मेहनत कर रही है, राइट? एंड आई थिंक डू दैट, you would not, आप, मैं इसीलिए मैं बोल रहा हूँ लीना, इसके बाद क्या करना, मेरे से और अथर्व से तो आपने बात की है, कम्युनिटी में भी बात करना. आई वांट यू टू नो, सो दैट यू लर्न दैट एक्सपीरियंस, बिकॉज कमिटमेंट टाइम की है लीना, कमिटमेंट पैसे से टाइम की कमिटमेंट है. तो उसके लिए अगर आपने क्लासेस मिस की या फॉर सम रीजन, फिर कोई फायदा नहीं है. मतलब देन इट्स नॉट गोइंग टू बी यूजफुल फॉर यू, नॉर इट्स गोइंग टू बी यूजफुल फॉर एनीवन.
क्लास तो मिस नहीं होगा. that's what how I prepared myself before I filled up my application.
बस उतना ही चाहिए, बाकी आपको टेंशन लेने की जरूरत नहीं है. व्हाट आई वुड आल्सो रिकमेंड इज गो बैक एंड लुक एट सम recent sessions of mine on the channel, right? Because my teaching style has also changed over years, right? So आपको भी तो थोड़ा acclimatize अपने आप को करना है, and मतलब best of luck for the application.
But Shravan, I just want to share something. It's like एक 8 months before की story है. At my workplace एक requirement आया था PM का, and then I applied for that position. And somehow एक बंदा है, he's from Poland, he's Polish. I live in Norway, okay? So he's from Poland. He somehow gave me a feedback that I'm not fit to be a product manager. मैं उस दिन बहुत रोई, okay? And somehow मैं जब भी कोशिश करती हूँ कि मैं जब से मैंने आपका चैनल फॉलो करना शुरू किया है, मैंने मतलब जितना भी मैं पढ़ने की कोशिश करती हूँ PRDs के बारे में, प्रोडक्ट स्ट्रेटजीज के बारे में, कैसे होता है, फॉलो अ लॉट ऑफ प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर्स इन माय लिंक्डइन नेटवर्क. मैं सबका पोस्ट पढ़ती हूँ, सबकी चीजें देखती हूँ. मुझे लगता है कि ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम आई हैव इम्प्रूव्ड, मुझे थोड़ा नॉलेज आ गया है उन चीजों में, बट आई हैव नॉट गॉट द अपॉर्चुनिटी टू इम्प्लीमेंट इट प्रैक्टिकली, है ना? बट वो मैं जब भी वो पढ़ती हूँ ना, वो बात मुझे खटकता है कि ओ इज इट, am I that unfit to be a product manager?
नहीं ना, मैं आपको एक बात बताऊं, आई एम द सेम पर्सन जिसको लोगों ने ये बोला था लिंक्डइन पे, ये तो मीम्स डालता है. तो लोग, कुछ तो लोग कहेंगे, लोगों का काम है कहना. एंड डू यू नो व्हाट्स द बेस्ट रिवेंज इन लाइफ? इट्स नॉट गोइंग एंड फाइटिंग. सक्सेस इज द बेस्ट रिवेंज. एंड you कुछ नहीं होता ऐसा. मैंने आपको ये बात बोली ना, I'm telling you a very good story. There was this, I don't want to name somebody, there was this product leader who had come to me long back, right? And he said, you could, then it's a very professional network. Believe me, 2 years back he came back and lead my $100 million vertical for me. The very same person came back to me, right? तो मैं आपको सिर्फ ये बोलना चाहता हूँ, कर्मों से जीवन बनता है. If you are dedicated in your effort ना, there is nothing in your life you cannot achieve, right? इसीलिए लोगों की बात मत सुनो कि only that's why this ecosystem matters a lot, because that is the empathy, the love that we have developed across, that you'll always feel motivated. आप ही की तरह ना सोनाक्षी, आप सोनाक्षी से जरूर बात करना, speak to her. She came with the
Yeah.
very same afraid, but आज भाई वो गॉड बन गई है बंदी, मानती ही नहीं किसी का, right? तो and
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, मैं ये जानता हूँ, in some time she's going to come back and she used to say I'm doing phenomenally well in my life. तो अब लीना, आप ये माइंडसेट अपने दिमाग से निकालो. मैंने
नहीं,
आपसे बस
इसीलिए आई फॉट बैक श्रवण. मैंने एक इन्वेस्टर को पकड़ा जिसके पास एक प्रोडक्ट है, उसका एक आउटसोर्स डेवलपमेंट टीम है. मैंने एक इन्वेस्टर को ढूंढा बहुत मुश्किल से.
sure.
इट इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू कन्विंस अ नॉर्वेजियन कि भाई तेरे प्रोडक्ट को ना मैं स्केल अप करूंगा,
अच्छा
मैं बात
लीना लीना
करूंगी. एंड
लीना
आई डिड दैट.
just for the interest of everybody, मैं आपका क्वेश्चन अब ले चुका हूँ. आप बाकी क्वेश्चंस ना कम्युनिटी में भी पूछ लेना. You have people across. ठीक है? Thank you लीना and best wishes. आगे चलते हैं. Yes विनय. Yes awesome, go for it.
Hi Shravan, thanks for this opportunity. So like I have worked in different sectors like manufacturing, life science, retail, and then B2B companies, in startups, like in good companies. I am looking forward to this, just taking a career break because I have a kid, like I need to take care of her, like my wife is also going to work. So I thought like I want to upskill myself in something. So when I went through LinkedIn, I saw this post and I read about it a lot. So I have already applied. Like I just wanted to understand like how will be the selection process, like what will be the
Very
criteria
simple,
for that.
very simple Vinay. So I think the structure of the program तो अब आपको समझ में आ ही गया है. You already know because we have talked so much about it.
Yes.
I think application authenticity is what matters. See, you already know that the application was behavioral. If you have put your honest heart across na कि who am I, what did I learn, I think that is it. We typically look at behavioral attributes of a person. See, who is a good person? A good person is who talks to somebody nicely when there is no incentive. That is how you talk to a security guard outside. It is this small behavioral things which tells you what is the typical mindset of a person. Good customer, bad customer. As simple as that, right? So if you have put it honestly, very honestly, then just wait for it. And in the next 2-3 days, the first shortlist would be out. Makes sense. Awesome.
Thank you, Shravan. Thank you very much.
Yes. Hey, where are you from actually? First, I wanted to ask you that. You can unmute yourself. Yes.
Yes. Okay. First of all, I would say thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm originally from Ghana, West Africa, but I'm currently based in Canada.
Sure. Oh, you're based out of Canada. Makes sense. Where are you based out of in Canada right now?
A lot of snow and cold. It's quite cold today, but yeah, it's good. It's quite early, but I think I resonate perfectly with Jeff.
I hope you understood most of the language because we were speaking in Hindi in between, but you could get the vibe. You could get the vibe.
I get it, and then like I've been watching a lot of Indian movies, and then the scenario that you made, like excellence, chase excellence, and success will follow you. I learned it from one Indian movie and 3 Idiots.
Got it. Makes sense. So tell me, what's your question? Go for it. Yes.
So my question is like how would the success of a participant look like to you after the 9 weeks program? And also my second question is like, are we going to learn some technological tools in this program?
Sure. So I'll answer both of the things. See, the success part, typically how it works. So typically let's break down the typical journey of becoming a product manager or landing whatever your dream. The first part is, are you good at your concepts, right? That you already understand what happens through the program, right? So are you deep enough so that if I go to Folia and I say, bro, build me a 10,000 bed hospital, can he in the next 30 minutes think of a very structured conversation, break it down very meaningfully, look at the right problem? Can he do that? That comes through practice. That happens extensively, which you already know. The second thing that happens is, since we have a very large network, we have alumni, as we told you, almost around 8-9 countries. There are people from Canada also. There's a student who recently became a TPM in Canada itself. I've had students in the first batch, second batch, etc. So this network typically helps you across, because see, a referral or a network, knowing somebody is not a network. Network means that I can vouch for you, that Shravan can say that, oh, this person is great, and talk to him, right? That is the second meaningful thing that happens. So I have a decently large network, as you already know. And obviously there are other students also, but typically I refer people who really put effort in the program. As I told you, If you are in the program, you have to put effort, genuine effort. If you put genuine effort, because I would not refer anyone on my credibility unless and until that person proves himself, right? Because I essentially want the other person to tell me, Shravan, even if you would have not referred this person, we would have still hired him. That's the second thing. And I think the third most important bit, which is post your referral, and even if you crack the role, how do you essentially understand that should I join, should I not join? Right? Whether it's the right culture, whether it's the right fit, is it long term aligned with my career, what I want to do. So I think that is where also a people element and the community element is a very profound thing, because we have students in the US, we have students elsewhere who would tell you that the right choice in career is not about generally the compensation or the title. It is more about where you work. Working is like marriage. You have to spend 10 hours every day with the same person sitting and coming in office. So if you look forward to that every single day, that is where you define really good culture. So I think all 3 points are kind of checked across. And the second part is, again, you talked about the technology and what we typically do. What we typically do over there is, see, the problems that I choose are not typically product problems that you see on the internet that say, how do you improve WhatsApp and stuff like that. I typically choose problems which I face in my life. Like, how do we solve misinformation? It's not a solved problem, right? There are some constructs around it that people have done community notes, people have done something and the other. Because if I give you a problem which is not solved, then your thinking comes into account that this is a new thing I'm coming from. And tomorrow, if you go to a company and somebody says, hey, can we build this SaaS vertical which can scale to a $10 million, then it's a new problem, it's a new thing. And if you have that attitude, you would be able to do that. And that is what happens over the 9 weeks. And this typically, and that is the reason in the 9th week we tell you to make a product. You don't just write a PRD. You say that I actually ship it out and put it out to customers. And whether it's in the community, whether it's outside the community helps. When you post on LinkedIn, everybody supports you. You get a lot of reach. And that is a very meaningful way so that you can showcase your work. So tomorrow, if somebody comes to you and there is a very deep portfolio, one more thing that I want to kind of talk about is that I taught this ecosystem to create portfolios. But what people do today, they take the same random case studies, solve it the same way, and there is no differentiator. A portfolio typically is your proof of work. It should show insights. Every observation is not an insight, right? But every insight comes from an observation. So if tomorrow in this conversation, see, one thing that I'll always remember, see, this is what happens in an interview. In interview, the interviewer should take something meaningful. So tomorrow I will always remember, oh, I had that friend from Ghana who had come in the call, and I will remember that across. So tomorrow you ping me on LinkedIn, it took some kind of an impression on me. That is what happens in a product interview also. You have to make that impression so whenever somebody reaches out to me, oh, he's that funny guy on LinkedIn who writes jokes on LinkedIn, right? That's a lot of people remember. Some people remember me as Bhaiya. So I think that is where the personal branding bit, and you know already that in this market, again, there are 100+ people who've gone to Amazon, Tesla, and please don't take my word for it. Go to the website, check it out. There is everything is given over there. Okay? So I typically say a product manager's word, don't take it with a pinch of salt. Go and do your discovery. Discovery is really important, right? So do that. So I think overall, from it, if you are willing to put an effort, you are in a different time zone. If you're able to fix the timings right, it will be an awesome experience, like Jeff said, because Jeff was also in the US. You already know that. If you're able to do that, great. But if timing is an issue, because time commitment would be there too. And second thing that will be, I want to be very honest with you, is you also have to understand that it is a slightly lingual program. People do converse in Hindi and other places. So you also start thinking about that. But majority of the communication, like 95% of the communication, is in English, right? So if you're comfortable with that, awesome. So I hope I answered your question. Makes sense. Awesome.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Awesome. Super cool. Yes, Shuchi, go for it. Yep.
Hello.
Yes, Shuchi, go for it.
Yeah. Hi, Shravan. I have 4 questions for you.
So you have 4 questions.
Yeah. So just bear with me. But
can you take the most important one, prioritize it, and tell me the most important?
Actually, I have written it in sequence, so sure. Each of the one connects with the other one.
So what I'll try to do is give me like a single question and a broad question. I'll try to answer it in a more meaningful way, because I give chances to other also. If there are other questions also, there community hai. Shuchi, आपने join कर लिया WhatsApp group, आप भी पूछ सकते हो.
Sure, but I think this might help a lot of other people also. But it's up to you. You can take the question you want. I'm not from a PM background, neither a tech background. I'm from digital marketing, and I have 6 years of experience now. So, but I have been reading. So, I used to browse landing pages and basically do things जो मुझे पता नहीं था कि ये product managing कहलाता है या फिर design thinking and all of those things, right? ये मुझे पता नहीं था कि it falls into this domain, but I was doing that. Now, or as an outsider, it might seem very lucrative. या फिर मुझे maybe I just know just the fun stuff. So my first question is, what does a PM do on a day-to-day basis? What does their life look like? And what are the maybe top things that they need to get into, and they have a say in that, right? Because the design team is different, tech team is sab alag hai. So we are everywhere and nowhere. So I just want to know कि what are the top things that we do.
आपको ना एक काम करना चाहिए, आपको एक काम करना चाहिए. I did 2 sessions. Both of the sessions are now going on YouTube. The first session is already there, where I spoke very in detailed about it, because वो दोनों sessions already YouTube पे हैं. पर मैं आपको मोटा-मोटा बताता हूँ. देखो यार, it's a role which happens at a lot of ambiguity. Ambiguity का क्या मतलब होता है? अगर मैं शुचि को बोलूँगा, शुचि, how do you essentially improve the conversion of a landing page? There are some set strategies also, right? अब ये करोगे, right? But ऐसा क्यों होता है कि certain landing pages convert at 30% and some convert at 5%? Industry average 5% होती है, 6% होती है. Because you are able to put forward that value proposition very meaningfully, right? And that takes a lot of consumer discovery, and it takes a lot of failure also, right? So in a PM's life, the first thing that you have to be super comfortable with is failure. It happens n number of times, right? So if you are somebody who takes a lot of heartbreak like to heart and does not be very happy with criticism and constraints, it's not a role for you. You'll not have fun, right? But what's the upside? The upside is, like you rightly said, that you work with design. Let's go to the fundamental question. Why do you work with design, engineering, and everything together in a PM? You have seen that Venn diagram. Why does that happen? Because this is one of the few roles which takes care of the whole experience. Like, for example, you're a digital marketer. If you bring leads tomorrow at a lower price, your job is done. Correct? आपको पैसे मिलेंगे ना. लेकिन अगर कल को आपने लीड्स लाई, सेल्स वाले ने अपना काम किया, लेकिन इवेंचुअली कस्टमर ने अगर ये बोल दिया ना, if the customer says I didn't enjoy it, everybody will get their appraisal, you will get fired. Right? Because
no, fair enough. These things don't work in silos. I completely understand that. But yeah.
So that is the second thing that I want to kind of talk about, which is that if you are super serious about that element of building products in its entirety, because you have to learn everything. You have to learn, if you have to communicate to your customers, you have to learn how to market. If you have to really convince your customers, you need to know how to storytell. If you're able to thrive in constraints, you need to be a better prioritizer. So you actually have to become a generalist, unlike other roles. There are similar roles around this, unlike other roles, right? So this is where, and if you really want to become a generalist, you have to be okay with failure. You have to be okay with constraints. Every single day there will be angry customers, there will be buggy products, there will be people who will not be happy with you. You will deprioritize somebody's work and that person will be against you, but you are the sutradhar of the company, right? So if you make a meaningful choice, everybody gains value. And that is the reason it is typically people from product roles who move into CEO roles, because product roles are very similar to entrepreneurial roles. Very similar, because only difference is the entrepreneurial ambit is slightly wide, because it has finance, HR, and other things also into account. Product roles में सिर्फ product experience होता है, but that is equally ambiguous. So that is why it is so aspirational by design, because it makes you, if you really want to thrive in a people's role where the team brings the value for other people, you need to become a leader. And leader is someone, not somebody who has written product leader in his title. It is somebody who leads in actions, right? And that is why it is a more empathetic, people-centric, like ambiguity-driven kind of a role, where only through experience and value and doing sheer experimentation, taking feedback, listening to other people, developing that kind of mindset, you can thrive. If it's a structured thing where you say that, oh, these 5 things only I want to learn and I want to become a good at it, I don't think this role you will be able to do justice to this role, because it doesn't work that way. The business has 100 nodes. You have to be good at all 100 of them in one way or the other. So you have to fundamentally improve your first principle. So if you are coming into the role with the expectation, oh, it's a very elusive title and I speak to so many people in the organization and everybody listens to me, right? Don't. If you are in this thing that I want to bring long-term impact for the end user, and I want to learn the way so that I become a leader, right? So that I am able to drive not only small businesses, large businesses, and even bigger problems. Like tomorrow I go to Shuchi and actually can plan a $1 million vertical with you in the next 2 days or 3 days, right? That will be a super meaningful experience, and it's a super meaningful thing that you do. अगर आप इस चीज से आ रहे हो कि आप आ रहे हो और आपको पैसे बहुत अच्छे मिल रहे हैं और आप बहुत खुश हो, ऐसा रोल नहीं है। लेकिन अगर आप इस रोल में थ्राइव कर गए, इट देयर इज अ वेरी स्ट्रांग पॉसिबिलिटी यू विल रीच द पिनाकल ऑफ management success on whatever you want to put across, and you'll be able to drive very large impact across organizations, and you will have a very strong brand credibility if you're able to do that, right? But again, dono side, high risk, high reward. That's the thing. Yes, I hope I answered
Got
it.
it. So yeah, so basically PM would also open doors to a lot of other niches also, right?
100%.
Sure.
Yes. 100%.
Okay. And I think just last question. So when we were going through, when the alumni were speaking, I saw a pattern where most of the people were, you know, fresh graduates or very basically young professionals.
Sure.
So how would this
Again,
course help
do
someone?
your discovery. In the program, there are only 6 or 7 people we can bring in the interest of time. Go to the website, spend time, you'll find all kind of personas over there. That's why I'm saying even before application process, तब तक मैटर नहीं करता, जब तक आप 1 घंटा लगाओगे तो वेबसाइट पे बोलोगे ना वहां पे लिखा क्या है, पढ़ो वहां पे, seriously spend time there, you'll find all sorts of people. The average years of experience in the program is 8 to 15 years, but we have had exceptional people with 2 years of experience also, because they have intent. We have had people with 25 years of experience.
Okay, and when is the last date of this? Because we would like to do our due diligence. So
कर लो ना यार, मैं वही आपको देखो, लास्ट डेट ऐसी कोई चीज नहीं है हमारे। 12 तारीख को देखो, इफ यू इवन इफ यू अप्लाई, इफ यू डोंट गेट शॉर्टलिस्टेड, द कन्वर्सेशन एंड्स देयर ओनली, राइट?
fair enough.
So 12th is the first shortlist that comes across, and we've already had n number of students. हमारा typically batch 70-80% batch first shortlist में close हो जाता है। उसके बाद we have like if there are places left, we send across a second shortlist, and typically हमारा program तो 8th को launch हो रहा है, but I think if it gets closed before that, or 60-65 maybe 70, depending on what type of audience that I get across, we close the batch. We don't typically wait across, because ये intensive है, time लगता है, आपको context set करना पड़ता है, आपको बहुत सारी चीजें करनी पड़ती हैं, बहुत सारी चीज। तो आप अपनी ड्यू डिलिजेंस आराम से करो, बट एप्लीकेशन भर दो। एप्लीकेशन भरने के बाद रियलिटी ये है कि 12th तक अगर आप पहले शॉर्टलिस्ट में आ जाते हो तो ग्रेट, अगर नहीं आते हो और वो बैच क्लोज हो जाता है तो फिर हम अगले बैच की ही बात करेंगे, इस बैच की तो बात होगी नहीं। ठीक है, मेक सेंस? ओवरऑल द प्रोग्राम इज स्टार्टिंग ऑन 8th of March. Yes, makes sense. Sorry.
Thank you, Shravan.
Awesome. Yes, Rahul, go for it. Yep.
Yeah. Hi, Shravan. Thanks for giving this opportunity. I've been talking to you a couple of times.
Yes, I know. We've had a couple
My
of
name is Rahul Verma, and I'm from Sapient.
Yes.
I'm having like 13 years of experience. So, just a question, like most of the questions you have already resolved by talking to you. Since I have just now moved into product management side, just January only I got the project. So my question is like, definitely it will be a very intensive program. I'm looking forward for that only. Like I need an intensive program, like we just discussed. We'll be looking, just my fingers crossed. My question is like, suppose because have moved into the product side, will that program help me in discussing the strategy which I am going through in my project as well? Definitely, I might not be able to discuss everything because of the compliance. But
मैंने वही बोला, देख 2 स्किल सेट होते हैं राहुल, एक होती है प्रोडक्ट एक्सपर्टीज, एक होती है फंक्शनल एक्सपर्टीज। तो को बात नहीं करनी, वी डोंट केयर योर फंक्शनल एक्सपर्ट, इट्स स्पेसिफिक टू योर कंपनी। जो तू बता पाएगा वो अच्छी बात है, जो तू नहीं बता सकता तो वो तो हर बंदे के लिए होता है। लाइक ईशा वर्क्स इन Amazon, she cannot speak everything that she does at Amazon, obviously. But the fundamental thing of building strategy is their product acumen. अगर तेरा प्रोडक्ट एक्यूमेन बहुत अच्छा है ना, तो इट डजंट मैटर विच इंडस्ट्री यू वर्क इन, वॉट एवर प्रोजेक्ट यू वर्क इन, बिकॉज प्रिंसिपल सेम है ना। प्रायोरिटाइज वो चीज करनी है जिसका सबसे ज्यादा इंपैक्ट है, जो लो हैंगिंग है, राइट, जिसको जल्दी कर सकते हैं, राइट। सोचने के तरीके तो कॉमन है ना, सोचने के तरीके इंप्रूव हो गए ना, फिर तू किसी भी प्रोडक्ट, तू आज से पब्लिसिटी सेपिएंट में काम कर रहा है, कल तू किसी और कंपनी में काम करेगा, तब भी तू उतना ही काबिल रहेगा, एक्चुअली बेटर हो जाएगा। तो इसीलिए द फोकस ऑफ द प्रोग्राम इज नॉट ऑन फंक्शनल एक्सपर्टीज। पीपल व्हाट दे डू, जैसे आपको क्लेवर टैब सिखा देंगे, आपको ये सिखा देंगे, यार उनको सीख के क्या कर लोगे? मतलब लाइक उनकी डॉक्यूमेंटेशन तो वैसे ही पड़ी हुई है वहां पे, खुद ही पढ़ सकते हो। आपको सवाल ये पूछना है, व्हाट डू आई वांट टू सी, what is the most, how does the funnel actually look like, right? What is most meaningful to the end consumer? वो सवाल आपको पूछने अच्छे आने चाहिए। अगर वो आप कर पाए ना, then you will have a very striking ability to have value with leadership। क्योंकि लीडरशिप वो नोटिस, देखो एक छोटा सा चीज बोलता हूं आपको, एलिवेटर पिच जो होती है ना, उसको एलिवेटर पिच क्यों बोलते हैं? एलिवेटर पिच इसलिए बोलते हैं क्योंकि इन 60 सेकंड द लीडर डिसाइड्स कि इस बंदे को 30 मिनट देने कि नहीं देने, right? And it depends on what you bring on in these 6. What is the enterprising bit? And there is a very famous quote by Mark Twain. He says that it takes 3 weeks to create an impromptu speech. 3 weeks to create an impromptu speech. Impromptu means when I'm not prepared. What it means is that if you really, really are consistent for 3 weeks, you'll become so capable that when you will go and have a conversation, it'll be insightful. It'll be insightful. This is what the program does for you. So don't think from a functional expertise point of view. Functional expertise is a function of your product expertise. तेरा ये इच्छा हो जाएगा ना, functional expertise will always be positive for you, and you will be able to do great things over there. I hope I answered the question. What is the
Yeah, definitely. That helps. And the second question is related to case studies, which is you just mentioned about the case studies.
मैं बोलूंगा, I think ग्रुप में भी बात कर ले. I think there are 2 other people in the interest of time. ठीक है. केस स्टडीज मैं एक और चीज रिकमेंड करूंगा. हमने केस स्टडीज डाली हुई हैं.
No. I just want to know, yes or maybe in yes or no, that will also work. Are we going to cover only those case studies which are related to IT improvement or digital business transformations, or
majorly B2C B2B businesses from a digital side ही होंगे. But अगर depends, वो एक बार बैच बन जाता है ना, तो फिजिकल केस स्टडीज भी करते हैं, वो सारी चीजें भी कर सकते हैं. बट वो तो फिर बच्चों के फीडबैक पे कि भैया ये चीज करनी है, ऐसे करने, वो तो फिगर आउट हो सकता है. बट मोस्टली यस, digital products. It can be B2B, it can be B2C, it can be B2B2C, it can be all sorts, but typically digital products because product roles वहीं पे exist करते हैं. But happy to take, यार मतलब मेरे लिए भी बहुत interesting होगा to come up and solve like a physical case study in which you're making a physical product. That will be an interesting thing to do. That's what PMs love. They love new problems. Yeah, makes sense. Sorted. Yes, Vishal, your question, and then I take Bhavna's question, and then we'll close. Yes, Vishal, go for it.
Hey, hi, Shravan. Good evening. So, Vishal this side. So, I have 2 questions for you. First one would be, after this program, would I will be crack the mid level roles, or would I be able to enter just the junior level PM roles? Second is that where do PMs usually land up 10 to 15 years down the line?
Sure, I'll answer both questions. It depends on context. The teachings are timeless, dude. So if there are people who have cracked lead PM roles, as again, go to the website, check it out, the testimonials and everything. Concepts बहुत simple है दोस्त. If your fundamental thinking is right, na, there are people with 10 years of experience who have cracked SPM roles, lead PM roles. There are people who are entry level because these concepts take time to build. Like for example, if I tell you how many people are consistent when they join the gym, very few, right? सही बात है. But the person who does it for 6 months, he gets a body like Virat Kohli, correct? Right? तो आप 40,000 रुपए दोगे, गोल्ड जिम जाओगे, लेकिन जाओगे ही नहीं, और कॉन्टेक्स्ट ही बिल्डिंग करोगे, तो होगा क्या उससे? कुछ नहीं होगा. Right? So it really depends on where you come from. But from a program structure point of view, it typically, if you are at 10 and 10 is the level of an APM, you will essentially become the best PM. It will take you there. But if you come from like, you don't have zero clue, and it takes time for you to grasp because the concepts are deep, you have to spend 5 hours, and time, आपको टाइम लगता है. ऐसा थोड़ी होता है कि आप 10 घंटे एक दिन लगाओगे सब कुछ समझ में आ जाएगा. आपको टाइम लगाना पड़ेगा, एफर्ट लगाना पड़ेगा. Depends on what. There are people who come from a PM background, they become SPMs at amazing places. There are people who come from non-PM backgrounds who become PMs. There are people who come from program backgrounds who become lead PMs, right? तो हर तरह का है, और इसीलिए कंटेंट से कहीं ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है the fundamental thinking structure and the behavioral traits that you take across as a leader. If you have a bunch of them based on your career, you can essentially aim for a PM or mid-level or a senior PM kind of a role. If you already have good prioritization, good ability to think, good ability to parse those thought across, you can try for a principal PM role. There is a student in the last batch who got through to a principal PM role in Wadhwani Foundation, but he was already a PM somewhere, right? So it was that kind of upskilling for him, right? So to answer your question, it depends on where you currently stand from a content perspective. This program equips you to crack any sort of role, even a director role, as long as you come with a certain level of fundamental thinking, strategic thinking, prioritization ability, and some level of shipment that you have done across, right? Make sense? और उसको deeply समझने के लिए तो यार मुझे तेरा resume ही देखना पड़ेगा, और ये देखना पड़ेगा कि तुझे आता कितना है. How much do you really need to put that across? But from a content perspective, it is very, very, very generic, very, very systemic. Like it's a general thinking structure code. जैसे अगर तू किसी जगह जाता है, how do you look at a book and say that how do I improve as a general thinker, general creative thinker? That is what it does for you. Make sense? Sorry. Got it. Awesome. Yes, Bhavna, go for it. Yep.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Good evening. Yes, tell me.
So right now I'm working with HCL, and the product that we are working on is very technical. And my counterpart, she is having 25 years of experience as a dev, and she's an acting PM right now in the product. So we work together, and there are times when we are in the stakeholder meetings and everything. She has certain questions which I'm not able to think of, and there are areas that she thinks of and talks about,
Sure.
I am not able to reach that frequency where she's thinking these things from.
Sure.
क्या हम वो चीज ड्राइव करेंगे इस प्रोग्राम से?
यार ये तो
Be
आपने
it technical.
बहुत आपने एम्बिग्यूअस सवाल पूछा। आपने मेरे को बहुत, आपने मतलब वो क्या सोचती है, क्या मैं वो सोच पाऊंगी? मतलब इसका आंसर मैं कैसे दे सकता हूँ? आप
नहीं
मुझे
मतलब बेसिक फंडामेंटल्स ऑफ अ प्रोडक्ट की
फंडामेंटल्स
लाइक।
आपको देखो, भावना देखो, अगर वो चीज एक थॉट प्रोसेस का प्रॉब्लम पार्ट है ना, कि वेर यू हाउ डू यू ब्रेक थिंग्स, एम्बिग्यूअस थिंग्स, आप सब कुछ कर पाओगे उस चीज में। बट इफ इट्स अ हाईली टेक्निकल थिंग रिलेटेड टू सर्टेन काइंड ऑफ अ प्रोडक्ट, वो तो यार वो तो जान के ही पता चलेगा कि वो क्या बोल रही है, राइट? बट व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू पुट अक्रॉस फ्रॉम प्रोडक्ट मैनेजमेंट में फंडामेंटल क्या होता है? लुक एट द राइट प्रॉब्लम, आइडेंटिफाई द राइट प्रॉब्लम, हाउ डू यू सॉल्व इट द राइट वे, हाउ डू यू बिल्ड द राइट सोल्यूशन, हाउ डू यू मेजर इट। ये 5-6 चीजें आपको समझ में आ गई, आप किसी भी प्रॉब्लम को ब्रेक कर सकते हो। बट ये 5-6 चीजें समझने के लिए किसी भी चीज को बोलना और कि मुझे आती है और इसे इंटरनलाइज करना, ये दो अलग चीज, ये दो अलग चीज, राइट? लॉट ऑफ पीपल से दैट दे नो थिंग्स, बट एक्चुअली जब सिचुएशन आती है तब नहीं आता, तब नर्वस हो जाए। तो दैट इज व्हाई कंसिस्टेंसी मैटर्स एंड इट विल हेल्प यू टू बिकम अ बेटर थिंकर इन जनरल, इन योर लाइफ प्रोसेस। और प्रोडक्ट कॉन्सेप्ट्स तो एनीवेज इससे डीप आप नहीं पढ़ोगे कहीं पे, तो वो आपको समझ में। बट यही है कि भावना, आपको फाइट मारनी पड़ेगी, मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी। ये दिस इज नॉट समथिंग, इट्स नॉट ए मैजिक वॉन्ड कि मैंने 4 अच्छी बातें बोली और आपको कल से आप सब कुछ समझ में आने लग गया। ऐसा नहीं होता, ऐसा नहीं होता। उस एक्सपेक्टेशन से आना भी नहीं है, ठीक है? मेक सेंस? सॉरी, यस, मेक सेंस। लास्ट क्वेश्चन आई टेक, चैतन्य, गो फॉर इट। यस।
Hi Shravan, thank you for having us. Thank you for the beautiful session. The Sunday night, appreciate it. So I just had a question. I missed the part in between because I had to tend to something at the house. So it's on weekends you have to give 3 hours, and in the weekdays also there will
not
be
3 hours,
sessions.
not 3 hours. On weekends my sessions are typically 4 hours तक खिंच जाते हैं यार चैतन्य, और बीच में आधे घंटे का गैप होता है, तो आप 4.5 घंटे मान सकते हो, क्योंकि लंच होता है, तो 4.5
And then
hours.
on weekdays also we have some things
Weekdays
to
में typically the 2 sessions that I do, those are called wisdom sessions or fun sessions or the master sessions. Those are not mandatory, लेकिन करने चाहिए अटेंड। अब आप अगर आप 2-2.5 महीने के लिए आ रहे हो, तो उस चीज में अपने शेड्यूल को चेंज करके आओ, क्योंकि मैं चाहता हूं, सी द बेस वैल्यू ऑफ द प्रोग्राम इज डिजाइंड बाय वी, द जेनिथ इज डिजाइंड बाय यू, कि आप क्या लेके जाओगे ना, वो आप पे बेस वैल्यू मैं डिफाइन करता हूं कि हाँ यार इतनी वैल्यू आप लेके जाओगे। लेकिन देयर आर पीपल हु हैव बिकम बेटर फ्रेंड्स, बेटर फादर्स, बेटर पीपल इन जनरल, राइट? वो भी हुआ है लोगों के साथ, एंड दैट इज व्हाई मैं आपको क्या बोलूंगा चैतन्य, इसके बाद आप भी डिस्कवरी करना, गो टू द वेबसाइट, आप टेस्टिमोनियल जरूर सुनना, क्योंकि देखो आपको ऑथेंटिसिटी दिखनी चाहिए कहीं पे। द पीपल हु स्टैंड आउट इन लाइफ, दे आर ऑथेंटिक इन देयर एक्सपीरियंसेस, इन देयर एबिलिटी टू ब्रिंग अक्रॉस थिंग्स, और वो आप और अपनी डिस्कवरी करो। लेकिन टाइम कंज्यूमिंग है ये, ऐसा नहीं होगा कि आप अपना टाइम अगर नहीं दे पाओगे और आप सोचोगे मैं 2 घंटे या 3 घंटे वीकेंड पे लगाऊंगा और थ्रू द वीकडे आई एम जस्ट कमिंग फॉर 1/2 an hour 45 minutes, मत करो। फिर मतलब फिर आप सोचो कि कब मैं निकाल सकता हूँ ये टाइम, तभी अप्लाई करो,
Yes, yes. Because I'm working in an early stage startup and I'm a founding engineer. So there are days when I'm pulling in 16 hours also. So that's
फिर मैं इसीलिए बोल रहा हूँ कि अगर आप ऐसा है, if like that, it will be very hard. तो आपको कोशिश करनी पड़ेगी, depends on, and if you, but एक चीज मैं आपको बहुत पॉजिटिव बताता हूँ, if you are a founding engineer in an early stage startup, if you develop this kind of product thinking, you will become a super immensely powerful acumen for your own company or your product. That is but this comes at a cost. जैसे आप, if you are a founding engineer, you know now how what it takes to build a startup. It is very similar to that. It's very similar to that. Makes sense. Sorry.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Cool, guys. I think once again, thank you very much for being here. I think everybody took away something. And if there are questions, आप community में पूछिए. Be my guest. The first application will come out in the next 2-3 days. You can apply. जिन्होंने apply नहीं किया है, कुछ questions है, आप हमारी website पे जाओ. Talk to alumni. Reach out to them. Ask your heart's doubt out. मैं सबको यही recommend करूंगा, जो आ रहा है वो दिल से आए, मतलब अपने निश्चिंत हो जाओ, निश्चिंत होने के बाद, and then only you derive the most value from it. Thank you very much for tuning in. It was super lovely. We will also upload this session on YouTube for other people to also derive value, but best of luck. Take care. Bye bye. Awesome.